Well, welcome to this Sports Showcase event on HarfordTV. I'm Don Morrison. My great pleasure to be at Aberdeen High School tonight. It's the Aberdeen Eagles versus the Havre Grace Warriors, a neighborhood battle, if you will, in baseball, but it's bigger than that. It's the fight for the fungo. Yeah, that's all about the Cal Ripken Sr. fungo bat. Tell you the story about that. Years ago, Cal Ripken Sr., the late great Cal Ripken Sr., ran a baseball camp out in Mount St. Mary's College in Emmitsburg, Maryland, in Carroll County, and it was attended by the coach of Havre Grace, one Chad Blevins. Well, Cal Ripken, if you know anything about him, was a tremendously great fungo hitter. Fungo is that nice skinny bat that you use to hit fly balls. Well, anyhow, for some reason, ending up with the fungo bat was, we'll talk about Chad Blevins, how he ended up with that fungo bat. But for the last 7 years, they have battled Aberdeen and Havre Grace once a year for the fungo, the battle of the fungo. Ray Roos, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
We're going on just a little bit early today because we're going to be able to see this ceremony on the fight for the fungo. And we're privileged to have Austin Ripken, who happens to be the granddaughter of Cal Ripken Sr., the daughter of Tina and Fred, who'll be throwing out the first pitch. Get this to her son, Mr. Caden Lucas. Caden Lucas is the great-grandson of Cal Ripken Sr.
Such family history here.
Yeah. So exciting. So Cal Ripken Sr., as you're hearing on the PA system, born and raised here in Aberdeen. He grew up playing for the Aberdeen Canners, signed with the Baltimore Orioles, was a star in their minor league system until he blew out his right forearm on a fastball from Steve Dalkowski. Old Oriole fans will know about Steve Dalkowski, and so he became then a coach and eventually a manager. 31 years in the Oriole system. So Austin, again, is the daughter of Fred Ripken and Tina Ripken, Tina Mike now, and the late Fred Ripken. And she'll be here to throw out the pitch, amazingly, to her son.
That's so cool.
It is. Now, the fight for the fungo has the deal that for the 7 years they play each other, Havre Grace and Aberdeen, once a year, and whoever wins the game gets the fungo bat for that whole year.
That's neat.
Now, Aberdeen won it the first year. That was 6 years ago. Havre Grace has won it the last 5 years in a row. So
There's
there
Austin.
you see Austin out on the mound. And Austin is an athlete in her own right, and kneeling behind the plate, wearing number 7. Look at that pitch, yay! And fires it back to his mom. I was kidding Austin before the game. I said, don't throw it in the dirt, otherwise we'll give you a lot of crap about it. So she didn't. Yeah, she was the coach, she along with her sister Mariah, at Havre Grace for many, many years in the softball. So now to honor our country, here is our national anthem. Bruce, what else could be more perfect? We're playing on the Cal Ripken Sr. field. Cal Ripken Jr. donated $75,000 that he'd been given by Major League Baseball Association to build this field with lights and so forth. 1999, I remember he came here. His dad had just passed away, and he dedicated this field to his dad.
It's beautiful, and we're dating ourselves, Don, but you would have loved to have coached or played on a field like this, as when my brother and others. So this is great for them. And back to the fungo bat, what a neat thing. You hear about those things in college rivalries where they pass a trophy or a thing back and forth. You rarely hear that in a high school event.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get a picture of that fungo bat. It's right behind us. That poor thing has been through the wars. Cal Ripken Sr. did use that fungo bat. Somehow it ended up in the hands of Chad Blevins. Now, I'm not going to say exactly how it happened. He claims that his college coach got it for him. I have a feeling, yes, I'm sure that was the story, because Chad is a very honorable person. But anyhow, Chad has kept it for all these years, used it for many years, and then it sort of fell apart. So now if you get a chance to see it, it's all taped together and brought together with nails, and it passes between the two schools. Actually, it hasn't passed so much the last 5 years. It stayed with the Havre Grace. So Aberdeen would like to take it back.
Yes, it's. We talked about this before, Don. Lots of things. These neighborhood rivalries, Joppatown against Edgewood, Havre Grace against Aberdeen, they mean a lot to these kids.
Yep.
Some of these kids are friends and play other sports to each other. They might have played travel ball with each other. But you know what? When you step on those between those lines,
Yeah.
you're not friends at that moment. You're rivals.
There you see the meeting at the plate here. The umpires and the head coaches, Chad Blevins in the maroon uniform from Havre Grace, Rob Arnold in the Aberdeen blue. Yeah, you're exactly right that it is a competition, Ray, but these two teams are no longer in the same division.
I know.
One's in tidings, one's in hiding, so in the
Hayden
and tidings,
Yeah.
that means they play each other just one time a year, especially, and it is for this particular game, Fight for the Fungo.
Well, with that new schedule, you're going to play the other 4 opponents in your division twice each. That only gives you 8 games, so you still have plenty of games, especially in a sport like baseball, to fill out the other schedule. So that is where the athletic directors and the coaches get together and say, we have to play this team.
Yep.
Well, in the new playoff format, Don, you don't have to worry about the accumulating enough points against a bigger school or things like that, because everybody makes the playoffs, except for football.
Yeah, but the seeding is affected.
It's still affected, yeah.
So that's still affected, but that goes beyond the Yuckback Championship, and let's explain that. You have 3 divisions, 3 division winners. The 4th team that's in that playoff, 4-way playoff, is the team with the best record that didn't win a division title.
Right.
So, for instance, Aberdeen and Havre Grace, if they won their divisions, they could face each other in the semifinals. But, you know, with each of them sort of down this year, Aberdeen 3-11, Havre Grace 5-10. Neither one is going to threaten to get into the playoffs in terms of the Yuckback. Now, they will go into the postseasons, Ray, as you said, with all teams making it.
I was talking to Coach Bob Arnold before the game briefly, and he was saying they've been that 1 inning away from being 10-5.
Yeah.
He says they've just made a few mistakes here and there.
Yep.
But he said he has 2 freshmen starting.
Yep. Yeah.
That's amazing for baseball.
Oh, it is, yeah. Aberdeen has been down for several years, and so they're looking to try to get back. By the way, you may notice that there are some clouds around us here. This was a very sunny, neat day until about a half hour ago, and the clouds started rolling in. We are under the threat of a thunderstorm, so if all of a sudden you hear Mr. Don and Mr. Ray under the desk scrambling for our lives, it may be because the thunderstorm found us.
I'll try not to whimper and cower, Don. I'll try.
Brian McCulley, the plate umpire, Gary Schertzer, the base umpire. We're just about underway. The Aberdeen Eagles will start with their lineup looking like this defensively. Caden Lucas will be for the Warriors. So let's give you the Aberdeen lineup. Miles Scholl is the catcher. He's one of the sophomores, number 12. At third base, Antonio Castellanos, the sophomore, number 14. Shortstop, senior and captain Aiden Fleming. At second base is Faison Baker, number 16, a sophomore. Jack Perdue at first base, number 41, a junior. Left to right, it's Xavier Zay Briscoe. He's number 25. David Murndrick is in center field, one of the captains, number 17. And Dash Perry, the freshman you mentioned, is in right field. He is number 1. The coach, Bob Arnold, James Fleming, and Joey Speed, the assistant coaches here.
So, Don, when you have 3, what you coached many years, do you generally have 1 head coach, 2 assistant coaches in varsity baseball?
Well, back in the day when they had only a certain amount of slots, you normally had just 1 assistant.
Okay.
Now today they're fortunate because they take the money that's provided for coaches and they can divide it a number of ways. So
right.
You can have 2 or 3 coaches, sometimes 4. And Ray, speaking of that, you look at the Havre Grace coaching staff. Chad Blevins, the head coach for 16 years. Rodney Bolin, Havre Grace class of 97. Blevins, Havre Grace class of 98. Matt Blethyn, Havre Grace class of 98. And Matt Lane, his second year, Chad Myers assistant. So 3 of the coaches on that team from Havre Grace were high school classmates.
That's really neat.
Yeah, we talked about, you know that, Ray, some of your best friends, are those people that you were high school classmates with and teammates with below those many years ago.
So, Don, when you coached, did you have a pitching coach and a specialty, or were you the pitching coach?
Yeah, I was also the medic. No, we just had 2 coaches back in the day. Of course, that was a few years ago, Ray. Yeah. By the way, Nolan Panda Soriano, the pitcher for Aberdeen. Now, he has 16 Ks in 15 innings this year, does Panda Soriano. This young guy is senior. He is a very, very good hitter, a good pitcher, I should say. Dwayne Cox, the freshman, leading off. Strike 1. We are underway here at Aberdeen High School in the fight for the fungo, Aberdeen versus Havre Grace. Dwayne Cox batting at .325, Ray.
Don, do most high school pitchers stick mostly with the fastball? That could be
up the middle,
tough,
shortstop moving. That's Ringgold, throw to first base low and past the first baseman. So reaching first on the error, runner on base at first.
That would have been a bang-bang play, though, but that young man had some speed getting down the baseline.
He surely did, and remember, we talked about him being a freshman, Dwayne Cox, the right fielder, batting at .325. Already has 11 runs scored. Now here's Chase Blevins, if that name sounds familiar. He is the son of the coach. He's a junior playing in center field.
That's an interesting dynamic, Don, being coached by your own parent.
Yep. Well, you know that because you and Travis have that relationship of being dad, son, coach, father. 1 strike, no balls, runner on at first base. That's Cox. A little bit of a short lead. Held on over there by Palmer Spence. Palmer, who happens to be the son. Oh, nice stop by the catcher, Lucas.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Dwayne Cox is going to take off at any point here, because the way he got down that line on that error was really quickness. So
yeah, and let me correct that. It's Miles Shewell, the catcher. Jack Purdue at first base. The throw to first base almost had him going the wrong way. Back safely.
Now, you don't have the rules in high school that they have in a pro where you have only 2 opportunities.
Yeah, only 2 disconnects. Nope, in high school you can throw as many times as you want.
Right.
Let's see now what we're taking.
I hear an anthem in the distance, Don.
Taking our caps off here. I'm not sure whether there's an anthem being played somewhere else. So let's pause for our national anthem one more time.
Horse race is starting. So we get some information about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dylan's telling us from the booth that, yeah, it is the APG 5 o'clock release, the bugle being played. So, yeah, that's a new experience for me here. That didn't go on when I was here at Aberdeen back in the day.
It's a nice
Squaring
touch.
the bunt, going down to second base is going to be safe on that steal. Now, was that just a fake bunt or did he miss the bunt? Don't know, but we're going to give him a stolen base.
So what's the rules on batter interference? Like, the coach is out here discussing that right now because the catcher had to throw over him, Don.
Yeah.
But he offered at the pitch, so I don't know how they would dispute him being in the way. He was trying to bunt the ball.
If he's in the batter's box, then he's entitled to that batter's box. He doesn't have to get out of the way. He can't lean across the plate. If he's out of the box, then it is interference. Cox is on at second base, nobody out. Blevins the batter. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count, just underway. Havre Grace, the Warriors looking to try to win their 6th game of the year. Curveball, strike
Wow.
3. Boy, that froze him.
Definitely did. That dropped in the top of the zone right there.
And I'll bring up the pitcher, Nolan Panda Seriano.
You don't usually see many steals from second to third, Don, but it still wouldn't surprise me with that speed he has. But you see the second baseman sneaking in behind the runner.
Down low, past the catcher.
Anyhow.
Down to third on the pass ball. I may have given you the wrong pitcher before. This is Trevor Zakowski, who's pitching for Aberdeen. Last time out, he pitched 7 innings, gave up 2 unearned runs, had 14 Ks in 7 innings against Joppatown. Game that went into the extra innings. Nolan Panda Seriano. Ball 1 on him. Up high on the fastball.
He's thrown 2 or 3 pitches in the dirt so far, Don, so our third base runner needs to get off of that bag a little bit in case he can scoot home.
Yeah. Now the backstop here is fairly close.
Yes.
It's only maybe, what, 15 feet back? But, yeah, you got to get a good jump if you're going to score. Curveball up high.
Sometimes
3
the
balls, no
backstop
strikes.
is your best friend. The ball hits the backstop and comes right back to the catcher.
Yep. Yep. But again, if that runner gets a good jump at third, you know, 3 balls and no strikes now. 1 out, runner at third base. That's Cox got on an error, stole second, went to third on a pass ball. Ball 4. Runners now at first and third. Bringing up the cleanup hitter, Julian Juju Ringgold, the senior. Juju batting at .375 on the year. Juju, we're told, is one of those guys who is a leader on this team.
Always got to have those guys, Don.
Yep. Juju, by the way, hit a 3-run walk-off home run, 10th inning, game-winning home run a few games back against one of the other teams they played. Oh, there was a strike. You could tell Ringgold was tempted. Ray, that may be the best pitch he's going to see.
I was going to say, he likes that. The pitcher likes that pitch. He's had a called strike on that 3 times now already.
First and third. Let's see if Seriano may take off here on the double steal.
He's gone.
There he goes. Fake down to second, and he'll reach without a throw. Stolen base.
That's almost a gimme, Don, because with that speed on third, you don't want to throw that ball down to second base.
Back in the day when we used to have the play where the shortstop would cut across, and if the runner broke, he would cut the ball off and throw home. Takes a great play, great throw, great catch, great throw. Ooh, that was close.
A little outside. We don't have that thing they have in pro ball now, Don, that has a little grid on the screen and the challenge.
Yeah, I like that challenge. 2 balls and a strike now. Runners at second and third, 1 out. Up high and inside. All 3 balls and a strike. Trevor Zakowski in his 4th year, headed for Wilson College or maybe Cecil Community next year. Going to study sports management. 4-year soccer player too, by the way. 3.38 ERA during the season. Cleanup hitter. Whoa!
I flinched, on. I said,
I flinched. Yeah, we were talking about that. Would we flinch? And
we did.
My reflexes are still there. There is a screen here.
I think the crew had money on that we would flinch. So
3 balls and 2 strikes. The big one here. You do have first base open. Juju Ringgold. Line shot past the shortstop into left field. 1 run will score. Soriano going up to third base. Runners at first and third. Nice hard base hit into left field past the shortstop.
That was, he tried to take second and got thrown out, Don.
Got thrown out at second base. Boy, that was a nice awareness on the part of Aberdeen. Not sure exactly what Juju was thinking that he could have gotten safely, but he's going to be out from 1 to 4.
Yeah, he thought he had caught them falling asleep, but they weren't. And that's big, Don, because that would have still been only 1 out, and the man could have scored from third on even a ground ball out.
So Soriano is at third base. Ball outside. 2 out now. We marked that play down, Ray. That may come back to haunt the Havre Grace Warriors. Instead of having second and third or first and third and 1 out, they got a runner at third now and 2 out.
Especially since he could have probably just taken off on the next pitch or two.
Yeah, you're thinking.
And they probably wouldn't have thrown down, but
They've already shown that Showell didn't try to throw to second base, so you're right. It's one of those games, if it works, it sounds like a good one. If it doesn't, it didn't. There's a ground ball to shortstop.
That's going to be a long play.
Long
there.
throw to first base. Great play
Wow,
by
good job.
shortstop. Hayden Fleming able to make that catch, the throw over to Jack Perdue. And so, indeed, Havre Grace had limited just 1 run on that good play by shortstop Fleming.
Yeah, the Aberdeen pitcher is feeling very happy about getting out of that with only giving up 1 run. That could have been a crooked number there for sure.
No runs, a hit, 1 error, 1 runner left, 1 run in. So 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base. We played a half inning. The Warriors leading now by that 1-0 score.
Don, you may have already said this. I was down the line by the truck when you were introing. I don't know if you mentioned that Ellie was here also.
Did not. Ellie Ripken, the eldest of the 4 Ripken children, in my class in 1977, she graduated. Got a nice hug from Ellie. Ellie is, she said, how's Woody these days? I got to tell you the Woodrow Wilson story. I'm teaching history, and I had all the presidents' pictures lined up. Woodrow Wilson is my personal, hero, a guy who came from the South, was president of Princeton University, became president of the United States. So anyhow, Ellie and her friend stole my picture off the wall, okay? And I get a ransom note, and the ransom note says, if you ever want to see Woodrow Wilson again, no homework this week. Okay.
That's fine. I remember you told me this, and I brought this up to Ellie, and I'm trying to remember if she tried to deny it when I told you.
No, she
owns up to it, right?
She still has the picture of Woodrow Wilson
awesome.
somewhere. Yeah, so they got no homework that entire week because I was so desperate to get Woody back and never got him back.
Did you double up on homework the next week to get him back?
No, Ellie was a straight A student, just a wonderful young lady, a great athlete. Again, Ellie, the eldest, and then Cal Jr., and then Fred, and Bill, the 4 Ripken children, all just, beautiful kids.
I always tell people that Ellie's the unsung athlete of that family. She played softball with my wife in women's leagues, and she was outstanding. And her and Barb, who's done many games with us, Barb Solberg, were probably, arguably, definitely our top 2 players. Not surprising to you. Kind of almost unfair to have a women's fast-paced softball team on it with Ellie Ripken and Barb Solberg, but we didn't mind.
You go back to those late 70s, early 80s in Harford County, and Bel Air had a great team. Aberdeen had a great team. Joppatown was very good. Edgewood was good.
Sea Mountain Right started being a powerhouse in the mid-80s.
Yeah. So that whole era was just tremendous era for girls softball and for baseball and for all sports, really. And we talked with Bob Arnold about that, how it goes in cycles.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So who's won boys state championships in Harford County?
In Aberdeen? I mean, recently?
Aberdeen, Joppatown, in the history.
Yeah.
Aberdeen, Joppatown.
Yeah, Bel Air, they've all won it. Well, let's get back to our game here.
There we go.
David Mundrick leading off for Aberdeen. The Eagles looking to try to get even. Nolan Pondas-Seriano, 16 Ks in 15 innings this year, the pitcher for Havre Grace. Nolan is a senior. Yeah, you go back, I think just about every team in the state has won a state title at one point, I should say, in the county. Edgewood winning basketball title back in 97. They won in 75.
In baseball specifically, I know Joppatown, Aberdeen.
Well, let me tell you my Cal Ripken state championship story when we get a moment. When Cal was a senior in 1978. They're playing Arundel down in Anne Arundel County. It was the state semifinal, and they're losing. They're 4-1. The game is pretty much over. Nice sunny day. Let's watch this pitch coming in.
Oh,
fly ball, left field, and it is foul and out of play. Anyhow, the game is pretty much over, and all of a sudden a cloud ray comes out of nowhere, like this huge cloud, and it for a half hour there's nothing but rain to the point of the field is just completely awash. So they call the game off and they replay the game. Aberdeen wins that game and wins the state title.
Wow. The
Just
gods were on your
outside.
side. Mother Nature was on your side.
More recently they would have picked up the game from that 4th inning, but no, they wiped out the score, played it all over again. Aberdeen won the game, and then Cal Ripken won the Cal Ripken and Aberdeen, 1978, won the state baseball title.
Awesome.
On the outside corner, yep. And David Mundrick says, yeah, you're right. One out now. That'll bring up a young guy named, he likes to be called Faze Fazenbaker. I like his name, William Fazenberger, goes by Faze, second-year soccer player.
I was going to say, I remember his name from another sport we called.
Yeah. Center back. Curveball inside, strike on the swing.
It's like a pretty long poke to get it out to the outfield fence there, Don.
Yeah, 345 down the line. It goes out to about 390 in left center field. Fly ball, foul off to the right.
A little late on that.
We were talking to Coach Arnold to say, has he ever seen a ball hit over the fence here? They were talking about Adam Berry, who's now the general manager at Cleveland, played for Bel Air High School, hit the ball out here over the right center field fence.
Wow.
The Berry brothers backed out the middle, fielded by the shortstop and the third or first base. Nice play by the shortstop in that case, Julian Jujo Ringgold. I mean, he took his time, Ray. Looked like that was just a routine for him.
You know this more than I do, but they say these shortstops have these internal clock. They know exactly how hard they have to throw or not throw. He looked very relaxed on that.
He did. Now Trevor Zakowski, the opposite number pitcher. 2 out, nobody on. Close one. You could tell that the Panda wanted that one.
I love the nickname.
Yeah. Panda Soriano. One of the seniors on the Havre Grace Warriors team.
I had nicknames, Don. They were things like Trouble, Rotten, stuff like that. It wasn't as cool as Panda.
Yeah. You know, I was going to ask you, we're talking about Palmer Spence, who plays first base for Havre Grace. His dad, Brad Spence, is the principal at Havre Grace.
Oh.
Now, how would you like to be
called to the office
by your father? You know, that's not good at all.
That would be tough.
Yeah, yeah. When we were here at Aberdeen, J. Walter Potter, his kids all attended Aberdeen. Down low.
Don, the pitcher starts facing the mound, then he reshuffles and turns it aside. I feel like more pitchers start somewhat sideways.
You know, in the old days, pitchers would wind up. You would see a Jim Palmer or Sandy Koufax take that big wind up, and now they just sort of turn their foot to be in front of the rubber, and just bring the ball on the outside corner.
Call that.
That was a good one.
So Don, people complain when they watch TV about the strike zone, but a good umpire basically establishes his strike zone. So he might not give one on the inside of the strike zone, but he might give one an inch off of it. But the pitchers and batters have to adjust to that.
Big fly ball into right center field. Moving on it is Blevins. And Blevins will put it away. Chase Blevins for the third out. 3 up and 3 down. Yeah, and one thing, Ray, you mentioned, the new rules they have in the major leagues have eliminated that umpire strike zone. Right now it's a standard strike zone. And again, you do get the challenges. And if you're successful, you can get 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 as long as you keep winning the challenges. I kind of like it. There's a fly ball. You'll see this catch made by Chase Blevins. Had it all the way and put it in at number 5 for you old-time baseball fans, Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, yes.
Number 5.
How tough is it to catch the ball? I know it's tough in the sun. How tough is it to catch a high pop-up when it's raining in your face?
Oh, or wind. Yeah. And I really like Chase Blevins. Caught the ball two-handed. You don't see that a lot anymore. Everybody wants to make because you have these beautiful gloves that kind of close around the ball. But I like to see that two-handed catch.
I love the fundamentals, Don. I'm right with you.
There you go. Old folks like you and I who believe in playing the game the right way.
Yeah.
No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. We have played 1 full with the Warriors leading by 1-0. And Ray, that wind is beginning to pick up. The sound of the freight train going past, you can hear it clearly now through this rain-soaked air. I think they were going to have a storm here at some point.
Yeah, it's a lot of people are looking at the sky and saying, what's going on?
There you see Mino's flag blowing in the breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Mino, our cameraman, has the right field duties today. He's way up there in the right field stands near the Cal Ripken Senior Field sign.
Such a professional.
He is yeah. He is a pro all the way.
I was talking to Dylan before the game about how a lot of our camera crew and get other assignments in other places. Mino, he's done college football games, pro NFL games.
Yep.
I mean, that's really cool.
Yep, he's a regular. Well, now we'll go to the top of the second inning. Nick Hall leading off, the third baseman for Havre de Grace. Oops, and I'm just beginning to feel that that wind blowing the rain right in our face.
Mm-hmm. It's going to mess my hair up, Don.
Yeah, and I liked Dylan before. He said, now, if it starts raining, cover all the equipment, make sure it's dry. I said, well, what about us?
Yeah.
He said, you have coat, don't you? I don't think he was very sympathetic.
They were much more concerned about the equipment than us.
Absolutely. They can replace us. The equipment, oh, goodness. They who sit in that nice van in there that's air conditioned, and that's okay. Ooh, inside it, hit him.
Yeah.
Got away from him.
Yeah, Don, I told Mino before when he told me he'd done an NFL playoff games, he did a Super Bowl, he'd done the Army-Navy game. I'm like, if you ever need somebody just to carry your bags and hang out with you, I'm available.
Here's Caden Lucas now. Caden, the freshman. Caden, again, the great-grandson of Cal Ripken Sr., wearing that number 7, and I'll tell you about that here in just a moment. Up high. Caden batting at .206, has 7 hits, 6 RBIs, scored 9 runs. Cal Ripken Sr., the family number was number 7. Now, you may remember a guy named Mark Belanger,
yes,
who had number 7 when Cal Sr. came to the Orioles.
I know that Brooks was called the human vacuum cleaner, but Belanger had to have had a cool nickname too, because nothing got by him.
The Blade,
yes,
was his nickname, but
yes,
only because he was so slender.
Yes.
But yeah, Cal Sr. Finally eventually took number 47. Cal, when he came to the majors, wanted number 7, obviously, but couldn't get it, so he settled for number 8. Nice play.
Could be 2.
Throw to second.
Oh,
low and past him. Instead of setting his feet and making the throw, Zakowski throws the ball past the second baseman, so everybody's safe on the error to the pitcher.
Now, will we see any little ball in this game, Don? I love little ball. I love to see a good bunt, move the runners over, let the other guys bring them in.
Yeah, this is your number 8 hitter, Jesse Lane, coming up now. So this would be a good spot with the number 9, then 1 and 2 coming up. Jesse Lane, 6 runs, 11 runs scored. He's got 6 RBIs. Up high, inside. Key spot here. Let's go back to Zakowski. He turned and didn't really set his feet.
Right.
Threw the ball kind of on the move. Threw it past the shortstop, Fleming.
Yeah,
Up
tough
high.
play for the shortstop to make because he's moving from short to the base, so he's going from his right to his left, and then the throw is behind him.
Yep.
So tough play.
It goes from what was a potential double play into both runners safe, runners at first and second, and nobody out.
Don, I wanted to ask you, do you think it's even allowed in the Ripken family to not be a good baseball or softball player? It's probably against the family rules.
It's in the genes. There's no question
Because
about
every
it.
one of them I've heard about from every generation has been great.
Yep.
Austin and Mariah were both good softball players.
Yep. And Billy's kids were all good players as well. Yeah.
And that Ryan Ripken guy didn't do too bad. Got it all the way up to AAA and doing a good job in broadcasting right now.
Yeah, Cal Sr.'s son.
Yeah.
Yep. Or I should say Cal Jr.'s son. Yeah, now we're privileged to watch the 4th generation.
Now, did you grow up in this area, Don?
I did, yeah.
Do you remember the minor league team that Cal Sr. played on being here?
Well, the Aberdeen Canners, it was a semi-pro team that he was head of. He was a teenager, and he ran a pop-up right in the middle of the infield.
Could be. There it is.
Infield fly roll. Yep, and First and second, or first, second, and third with less than 2 outs, a fair ball. That is an automatic out. So pop up to the, yeah, Cal Senior was a high school player, and the Aberdeen Canners was they had the Susquehanna League, which was a very good semi-pro league, and he headed that up. So yeah, Cal Senior ran that team, and they were very good. Cal, of course, then signed by the Orioles and was a catcher in their minor league system for many, many years.
It's a good pitch there.
Lucas Fongini now, the batter, the left fielder, senior. 7 RBIs, 11 runs scored. 1 out, runners at first and second. Curveball, hanging right in there with it, but fouls it back. Now, no balls and 2 strikes. Ray, you talked about that. They chose not to have Lane lay the ball down. So instead of advancing the runners, now you still have them at first and second. Now, if Zakowski can fan this batter, down low.
He definitely likes to flirt with the outside of the plate. If you notice, he keeps a lot of things away from the batter.
1 out, runners at first and second. A walk, an error, pop up, down low. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. We're in the top of the second inning. As you see, the Havre Grace Warriors scored that 1 run back in the first. The fight for the fungo. Fleming trying to keep him close at second. Pop up, foul, and see, that went through the screen. Now, let me tell you about that. See, when that ball came back to us and we ducked, it was wise.
Yeah.
The ball can go through the screen.
I was trusting that you were going to block it when it became through.
No, I was under the table. Yeah. Rain continuing, just spattering of the rain. Flung on in this. May have tip fouled it. Hung on to by catcher Shewell. 2 out now. That'll bring up the top of the order Dwayne Cox, who got on an error, stole second base, ended up scoring on the single to left field by Juju Ringgold.
So I see some of the lights are starting to come on here, Don. So they're starting to warm up as we're a little bit hazier than normal because of the clouds.
Off the catcher's glove, down to third base. Here's a throw. He's going to be safe at third base on the pass ball. So the runners do get to second and third.
Alert base running there.
Now, Ray, the only thing is the lights don't work here. That's why we're playing a little bit earlier. That light that you see, I think maybe...
For the football field.
Yeah, and I think it is like maybe a pattern light of some kind, but the lights are not working.
We need the storm to go by and get the sun back out here, Don.
Yeah, we were looking, the bus driver for Havre Grace was showing me his radar, and he said, yeah, it's going to be a little storm, but it's going to pass quickly. And I said, yeah, but we're going to be wet by the time it passes. Cox now up high.
Well, if the bus driver ends up being right, then we need to get them on one of the news stations because they'll be more accurate than the weathermen usually are.
There you go. I like it. A weatherman says 20% chance of rain. So if it rains, he said, I told you it might. If it doesn't, he said, I told you it probably wouldn't. How do you get a job like that, Ray?
It's a pretty, you can't be wrong technically.
Inside corner strike. 3 balls and a strike. Miles Shewell having a little bit of trouble hanging on the ball. Don't know if it's the movement or maybe the dust, the wind, a little bit of moisture. 3 balls, 1 strike, runners at second and third, 2 outs. Down low, we're loaded.
Well, at least they're not like the major league pitchers. They request a new ball every second or third pitch. They're Don, right? We don't have enough balls in the high school budget to do that.
No, we don't. Chase Blevins now, the son of the coach, fanned looking back in the first inning.
Stepping out.
Interesting that Zakowski's going to pitch out of the windup here, not the stretch. Gives that runner at third a little bit of a break. Strike on the fastball. Blevins didn't like the call.
It's that outside pitch he's giving them. But at some point, the coaches and players have to pick up on that, Don, and not take it, right?
Brian McCulley. Curveball, slapped down to third base slowly. Long throw to first, high, and he is safe, is the call. Unable to hold that bag was Jack Perdue. So give the error to the third baseman, score the run. Coming in from third base is Nick Hall. Moving up is Lucas into third base, and going down to second base, Cox. On at first base on the error is Chase Blevins.
That could be a big play, Don.
It was. You could see how that ball into high grass just slowed up. Soriano now. Up high and inside. Remember, Soriano walked back in that first inning.
Now, wouldn't you tell your fielders that they should come in for a ball and not wait for it? Because that's two plays at first base that were the ball slowed down in the infield.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to think about that. Pop up, coming foul and out of play over our heads, hopefully. Yes, as the ball hits safely behind us.
If it wasn't, it was going to hit me right in the head because I didn't even turn and look.
Yeah, there you go. You know, they say heads up. Well, that's dumb. You put your head up, get hit right in the face. Yeah. I'd rather say duck and cover. That's more like it.
That's right.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Bases are jammed. Curveball swung on and missed. 1 pitch to get out of it now. Already a 2-0 lead for Havre Grace. The fight for the fungo. The winner of the game gets to take up that fungo bat. Let's see maybe if we can get it on camera here at some point. Line shot into right field. Is that going to be fair? Fair ball is the call down that right field line.
Should clear
1
the
run
bases.
scores, 2 runs score. Nope, just the 2. Now here comes the 3rd run in, and it will be a bases clearing triple
Double.
by.
He stopped at second.
Yeah, he did stop at second. You're right, by Nolan Soriano. So a 3-run double into right field.
So, Don, are they getting ready to pinch run for the... Nope, he just brought his gloves over to the coach.
Yeah, they have what they call a courtesy runner so that, you know, if the pitcher desires pitcher or catcher, they can come out. And that's a big, big hit there, that 3-run triple. That could not have been fair by too much. I think maybe the wind maybe helped it stay
I was going
fair.
to say, because that ball normally would slice out of play because that was down the line the whole way, but it just stayed truly straight the whole way.
So 3 RBIs for Nolan Ponda Soriano. The pitcher helps his own calls.
So the play really mattered on the previous play. This could be a 0-0, 1-0 game, so let's hope that isn't the difference.
Our scoreboard has 4-0. I believe it's 5-0. They did score, that 1 run previously and then 3 on that play. So
yeah, they switched it.
4 in this inning. So
yeah, you're right. That one for the TV. So, so Don, what is the pitch limit rules for baseball players in the game?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I would hate to quote it.
I know there's rules on how many pitches you could throw in this game, and if you're allowed to come back within 1, 2, 3, or 4 days.
Right. Not sure, but Lusakowski has thrown a lot of pitches through just 2 innings. Now here's Juju Ringel. Ringel got that base hit back in the first inning. Remember, he got thrown out, and the ball by the catcher bounces right back to him. No advance.
That was that lucky bounce I was talking about before. That one just came right back. So smooth, the catcher snagged it with his bare hand and turned around like, I dare you to go to third.
Yeah, I don't think the runner at second, Soriano, even got a couple of steps on.
No. He's happy with his base clearing double for now.
Down low, blocked by the catcher.
Catcher's doing a heck of a job.
He is, yeah. He's been moved around quite a bit. We were talking about at our last game with Barb Solberg, Baseo, the Oriole catcher. I think he's got to learn how to block the ball.
He's got some fundamentals to work on, Don. He turns the glove the wrong way sometimes.
He's such a great athlete that he likes to backhand the ball, but it's not something you can do on a consistent basis. 2-2 now. 2 out, runner at second. 5-0 the lead for Havre Grace. We are in the top of the second inning. On the outside corner, and that will bring to an inning, to a close, this top of the second inning. Not before Havre Grace scores 4 runs. They get 4 runs on, let's see, it looks like 2 base hits, and there were 2 errors in the inning, and a runner left on base. So we played 1.5. The Warriors leading by a score of 5-0. What a big 2-out bases clearing double by Soriano.
I like what the coach did there, Don. He greeted the pitcher as he came off the mound, and I think he gave him a little bit of, hey, that wasn't all you. You know, we got to play a little bit better behind you. Keep your head up, and let's go get him next inning. Big part of coaching is keeping up the morale, keeping your players' head in the game.
Yep, and there you see our graphic showing all the players on the field. Juan Jimmy at left field, Blevins and Cox around the outfield. Hall, Ringgold, Lane, and Palmer Spence. I think we put an extra K in Palmer's name just to emphasize how cool his name is. The son of the principal. Jesse Lane, son of the assistant coach. Chase Blevins, the son of the head coach. Ray and, you know, we're just here.
I don't know if that means that they can get away with anything.
Not at all. Not at all. I love the Havre. Havre Grace has a kind of reputation of being a family-oriented community.
Yeah.
And this baseball team is exactly that. By the way, the assistant coach for Aberdeen is named Joey Speed. If that name sounds familiar, Amelia Speed, who is the head coach of the Aberdeen softball team that we had this past week. Yeah, they met in high school. We were talking to Coach Arnold about it, and were high school sweethearts, got married, and now they're coaching, one for the Aberdeen high school boys and one for the Aberdeen high school girls.
That gives them some good dinner table conversation.
It does, yeah.
Who can brag more about their team or who can commiserate more about their team, right?
Yeah, and with the two Aberdeen teams this year, it's more commiserating. It's one of those tough years. Well, here we go now. Aberdeen needing to get back into the ball game. They'll send up their number 4 hitter. That's Fleming. Aiden Fleming, foul back our way. The shortstop coming in with a .357 batting average, a double, 9 RBIs, 7 runs scored, and 7 walks.
I'm proud of myself, Don. I didn't flinch that time. I'm getting better.
Either that or your reflexes have just totally gone. We don't know. Swung on and missed.
That ball dropped a lot.
It did. Talking about Lucas, about Caden Lucas, the catcher. He is a freshman, again, the great grandson of Cal Sr., who was a great catcher himself. Caden can play anywhere in the field. Catching is just one of the things he does.
Well, you've heard me say it, Don. Catcher is the goalie of baseball. You know, the tough position, the one that most people don't want to do. Probably the hardest job in most sports.
Yep. Yeah, goalies. Yeah.
And catchers. I mean,
yeah.
Don, I'm hurting on my knees just watching them squat for one inning.
Yeah, off the end of the bat. Notice also that many major league catchers, since we're on the topic, now catch with one knee down.
Yeah.
You'll notice that we're watching young Caden Lucas here catching in the normal stance where he has the squatting kind of an action. I think that's so much
his
better.
Left leg right there before the pitch was thrown.
Right on the outside corner, getting rid of that cleanup hitter, taking strike 3.
That's what you call a good framing there, Don. He really held that pitch for the umpire to see, to basically say, you're giving me strike 3 on that, aren't you?
Absolutely. Good
big
call.
Big part of the catching job.
Zabisco now, the batter. Aberdeen looking for its first base runner of the game. Well, he was late on that one.
Who calls the game in high school? Is it the catcher or is it the coach on the side that's giving signals to the pitcher?
Yeah, a little of both. Normally the catcher is the one that will call the game.
Okay.
I'm sure he will take perhaps some ideas from the coach.
So watch what he does here, Don. He starts in the two-legged crouch, and then he drops his left knee right as the pitch is being delivered.
It's kind of funny. We talked to his mom before the game, Austin, to come over and perhaps be with us, to be part of the conversation. And she said no. I said, well, why not? Are you nervous? No, I don't want to make my son nervous. Swung on and missed.
He'd get the mom. She'd get the, come on, Mom.
Yeah.
Hey, She was a catcher. He's a catcher. She coached him in Little League, I'm pretty sure. She still does. That's really cool to see a woman coach in baseball.
Up high and inside. Yeah, Austin and Mariah, you mentioned the two children of Fred and Tina, both great athletes, coached at Havre Grace for many, many years together.
A 2-strike count here, important pitch.
Pop up. Looks like it's going to stay in play. Nope, and now it just fades out of play. Good job by pitcher Soriano going over.
It's a very tight fence here, Don, past the backstop. It stays tight about 20 more yards down the line, so it doesn't give a lot of room for first and third baseman to get balls in foul territory.
Yep. Again, we mentioned this field paid for the renovations by Cal Ripken Jr. as part of the money he got from the Major League Players Association. It's one of them missed when he broke the Ironman record.
I didn't know he got a stipend for that. Wow.
No, the Major League Baseball Players Association gave him an award, and instead of accepting it for himself, he, funneled it back to the hometown. I was here the day he dedicated it, and it was very emotional. He was talking about how his dad used to come to watch him play, and how he could never play well when his dad was here. Now Scholl, the catcher, the batter.
You always want to impress your parents.
Yeah, I remember Cal Jr. in dedicating the field said, he pointed over and my dad would come once in a while when he was home from coaching, and I would see him come over that field. I was so happy he was there, but I invariably could not play well when my dad was there. The Ripken family, just pillars of the community. Vi Ripken, the late Vi Ripken, Boys and Girls Club. I mean, just charity, giving back to the community.
I remember when Miss Vi used to come to LA softball games with Cal Sr.'s son when he was available. She was there all the time.
Cal Sr. never could come to see the games when we were playing, and Vi would come with her low-slung beach chair and sit behind the plate, foul back.
I know that chair. I know what you're talking about. She brought the same one. You know the nice fields at Hartford Community College, Thomas Run. What's the park called there? The Thomas Run Park?
Maybe.
She'd bring that chair and sit right behind the plate. She'd like to see the strike zone.
Yeah. Yeah, when of course Cal went everywhere. Cal Sr. Here's a pitch on the outside corner, strike 3, and he has fanned the side. He being Nolan Panda Soriano. He's now fanned 4. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on. We have played 2 full. It's Havre Grace by 5-0. Now back to that story about Vi Ripken. Of course, Cal was always gone. When spring training started, he would be Aberdeen, South Dakota, Lodi, California, wherever. And as soon as school was out, the day that school ended, Vi would round up the kids, all 4 of them, small kids, and off she would go to wherever Cal Sr. was, and they would spend the summer, with Cal, again, at any of the stops where he happened to be.
So it was when Billy was...
There you see the Cal Ripken Sr. field, so dedicated to Cal Sr. by his son, Cal Jr. and the Ripken family. And by the way, that young man waving his arms out there, is he saying help? No, he's being patriotic. That's Nino, the
He's waving a white flag. Is you see a storm that we don't see or something?
I'm not sure. They said, where can we put Nino that he won't cause any trouble? so they put him out in right center field.
So Cal won Rookie of the Year, then he won MVP.
Back to back.
Billy was just like a freshman, about 19 when he was in minor league ball. And Billy's best friend, John Yancone from Aberdeen, was roommates and friends with my best friend, Earl Heaps, at Maryland. So Billy and I were down there visiting our friends at the same time, and we were going to go out, and Cal comes down and visits. So I got to go out with Billy and Cal, and you heard the stories about how Cal used to like the rough house with Eddie Murray and Larry Sheets and stuff. So Billy started talking smack to Cal.
That's not a good idea.
And then Cal started roughing him up, and then somebody else got involved, and all of a sudden Cal's roughing all of us up. We get to the bottom of the building in the dorm, the elevator door opens up, and 2 girls are standing there, and the 4 of us are on the floor of the elevator, and Cal's just looking at us like, what? I didn't do anything.
I didn't, Palmer Smith's now leading off, the only batter who didn't bat in the last inning.
Cal was a little bit bigger than the rest of us.
Cal,
Okay?
6'5", 230, yeah, a little bigger. The deal was when you came up to the Orioles, you had to wrestle Cal Ripken Jr. That was part of the deal. It was the initiation. And, I mean, who's going to...
Not many people are going to win that one.
Yeah. Who would want to, you know? Can you imagine injuring Cal? So his streak, ground ball third base, fielded neatly there.
Oh, another high throw down.
And past the first baseman. Again, that was a sure out. Reagan made the point about that close backstop, so at least it is a one-base error, not a two-base error. So
Yeah, I saw Eddie Murray interviewed in the last 5 years, and they were reminiscing, and he was kind of irked about it. He was like, Cal would just not want to stop roughhousing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Nick Hall, the senior now. Nick walked and scored.
Oh, he's
Turns
trying
the
to bunt,
bunt.
yeah.
Yeah, even though you're up 5-0, you'll never have enough runs. Let's move him up.
Don, what is the rule? Because we're not near it, but at the end of 5 innings, it's either an 8 or 10 run rule.
Yeah, it's a 10-run rule. If you've gotten those 5 runs, a team gets to bat 5 times, regardless of what the score is. There's the bunt.
Oh, he's definitely on second. Now we got to make the play at
Well
first.
done. Sikowski picks it up and touches over to first base to Purdue. Nice sacrifice bunt.
I like seeing a good bunt once in a while, Don. It's a lost art.
Watching the Major League game the other day, and the batter was trying to bunt, and he hit his hand on the bat. And, you're taught, don't put your hand in front of the bat.
Yeah.
So the sacrifice bunt from 1 to 3, going up to second base is Spence. Batting now is Caden Lucas. Caden, who got on an error to the pitcher. Remember, he hit the ball back to the pitcher last time, returned and threw the ball into center field. I mean, you just watch Lucas as a freshman, and you can see that he knows baseball.
Yeah.
Everything is done the way it's supposed to be done.
I just hope he's not feeling extra pressure here with the game and the fans, the family being here.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
The occasion.
Chad Blevins gave us some of the quotes that Cal Ripken Sr. Became famous for, and I'll give you some of them here in a minute.
Trying to see where our center fielder is playing, Don. Is he straight away or is he more slightly to the left? There's a big gap in right center if anybody can get it over second baseman's head.
Yeah, that right fielder's playing hugging the line. 2 balls and a strike. Pop up. First baseman moving. Purdue has it.
Good play, good play.
2 out now. His most famous one, Ray, and you may have heard this, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So
I love that saying.
He believed that you just don't practice that makes you better. It has to be a perfect practice. So his drills were regimented down to, the last nth.
Yeah.
Here's Jesse Lane, who popped up to the second baseman. 2 out now. Chance to get out of this inning.
Do players still play pepper? That was always a
not
thrill.
allowed. Not allowed. Yeah, not allowed anymore because the ball might go in the stands and somebody might get hurt. Yeah, pepper. We'll talk about that in a moment. A lost art.
Showing my age there.
Yeah, you had 4 or 5 players, and you would stand within, say, 5-8 feet of the batter and toss it to him, and he would hit it as hard as he could, and you had to catch it and, flip it back to him.
Either caught it or ate it, right?
Exactly. Strike. Sikowski now is toughening up here. 1 more strike to try to get out of this inning without being scored upon. Calling for the high pitch.
Ooh.
Goes by him.
Barely tipped that. So I was talking to Ellie before the game, and I heard her talking to her friends and family, and she looked at Austin and she goes, I'm wearing the right colors, right? Because she was wearing the Havre Grace colors. Because she was basically saying, this is kind of hard for me. I'm doing this for my nephew, but, I played for Aberdeen, so this is kind of hard for me to wear the other team's colors.
Swung on and missed.
Being a good
blocked.
Ant. Being a good
and the throw to first base and the out. Out is recorded from 1 to 3 on the strikeout. Yeah, Ellie was not happy because she was told she could not be inside the fence to observe the game.
I think she wanted to play.
She had to be outside the fence, and you know, we're kind of. I think that's Ellie I'm watching over here on the left. Maybe.
No, she went down the right field line. Unfortunately, now she's down near our truck more.
Okay.
Some bleachers.
So she has to sit beyond the fence, and Ellie just was not pleased that she couldn't get a close-up view of the game. I think Austin's feeling was, I don't want you to make my son nervous. Stay away from him. Very protective.
Well, the rules they have for that, Don, are pretty much for the safety of the fans.
Yeah.
Because everything is close around here. You and I are some of the only people besides the teams that are allowed inside here.
Yep. And we have a screen between us and the action. So we will go to the now bottom of the third inning. Aberdeen looking to try to get back into the game, looking for their first base hit. They fanned 4 of the first 6 batters. Soriano has put them down.
Yeah, he's been really strong.
He has that. He's fanned 16 batters in 15 innings of work this year.
So, Don, you coached and you were a legendary coach. What is a lucky amount of good pitchers a high school team can hope to have?
Well, you know, pitchers are so valuable that the more you can have, the better. You want 2 aces. You want, you know, ideally a lefty and a righty,
and a couple relief guys.
And then then you want some pitchers who can come in, you know, without a lot of hoopla, if you will, just to mop up. But again, you play only 2 games a week normally, and so you can get away with 2 really good pitchers.
So in your state championship team, was Cal your best pitcher, and then did you have somebody else too? Yeah,
there were 2 or 3 other really good pitchers, and I must correct, I wasn't the coach that year. I had left, so George Conley had taken over. Cal was a shortstop who we allowed to pitch only because he was just that good.
Right.
But again, well, let's talk about the game here. Dash Perry now coming up. Dash is the number 7 hitter. To the point of that, I would tell scouts there's a ground ball to third base. Fielded, and the throw to first base for the out. Good job by third baseman Nick Hall. Took his time over to Palmer Spence. 5-3, the out is recorded. The scouts would come, and if they found out Cal was not pitching, they would wrap up and go home because 17 of the team scouting Cal Ripken Jr. scouted him as a pitcher. He was too slow, couldn't hit well enough. This is Jake Perdue, by the way. And I say, just stay around, watch him, watch how fluid he is. You know, so the Orioles were the only team scouting Cal Jr. as an infielder. And even when they signed him, drafted him 2nd in 1978, they gave him a couple of years to show he could play the infield, and then he would have been converted back to being a pitcher.
I vaguely remember hearing this story. That's really fascinating.
His first year, there's a swing on a miss. If I recall, strikeout is recorded. That's the 5th strikeout now for pitcher Soriano. I think he had like 29 or 39 errors, and really had a hard time. Didn't get any home runs. This is at Bluefield, and they gave him another year at Miami, and he showed improvement. And then at Charlotte, that 3rd year, I think he had something like 28 or 32 homers. Swung on. No, he didn't swing. He took it. That's Castellanos now, the number 9 hitter in the order.
So we're in the 3rd inning, Don. Has he retired every batter?
He has, yeah. Yeah. He fanned now 5 of them.
I don't want to say the words because I
No. It was so funny. Barb Solberg and I were joining the game. She had the reverse announcer jinx where she said, "This batter hasn't gotten a hit yet," and boom, he got a hit. Ooh, just off the outside corner. Yeah, the old superstition is if someone is pitching a game where the other team, shall we say, is looking for their first base hit, you don't say the word.
Right.
Otherwise, you're blamed for jinxing.
Yeah, Jim Palmer did that last year when the pitcher that's pitching tonight, Young, who got called up because another player went on the disabled list, was pitching one. And I was thinking, what are you doing, Jim? What are you doing?
2 balls and 2 strikes. Antonio Castellanos. Ground ball foul at third base. That would have been the base hit.
Yeah.
Coach Bob Arnold is going to chase the ball down. Well, maybe chase is not the right word.
Saunter after
He's
the
going to
ball.
walk the ball down.
I always thought it was funny to chase it down. Well, you chase down the ball, it's still moving, but when it's not moving, are you really chasing it?
2 balls, 2 strikes down low. But the old line by Euchre where he said the way to catch a knuckleball, wait until it stops rolling and pick it up. Bob Euchre, probably the funniest man
Yes.
who ever, he said he hit 200 lifetime, really right on the nose, 200. And he said, I'm in the Hall of Fame. It takes a lot of good to be able to get in the Hall of Fame as a 200 batter.
But didn't he get in as an
Ground
announcer?
ball,
There's our first
and that could be the
run.
base hit. Backhanded by the shortstop, throw to first base, and he is going to
What?
be out
Oh
at
my
first base.
goodness.
What a play by Julian Juju Ringgold. I thought for all the world that was a base hit.
Is that Manny Machado over there?
Ringgold backhands it, didn't set his feet, threw the ball to first base. Great stretch by Palmer Spence. The out is recorded. Boy, put a star
Did an
beside that one.
underarm, sidearm sling over there and still got all that accuracy and pace
I'll
on it.
bet you, and here is the replay, just as I was going to say, watch this play to first base, and
Boom, boom.
out is the call, and the call is correct.
And a great scoop from the first baseman, too.
Gary Schertzer, the call. Yeah, that was Palmer, made that great stretch, a one-hop catch. I'm telling you, I have seen some great plays.
Yes.
That was among them.
That was one. Hey, crew, can we get that on the...
Okay, 14 for 6. 6 for 14, thank you.
You know how we have our preview here, Don, for each of our games with the highlights of different plays?
Uh-huh.
Let's see if we can see if they can get that in next year's.
I would love it. I'm looking for, let's see, we have a new player coming in. It's number 6.
Did you say 6 for 14?
Yeah, 6 for 14. I'm looking for number 6 on the lineup. And I guess that's the Havre Grace lineup, which is why I probably wouldn't find it there.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking, scrambling for our roster.
We get some changes during the game here, folks, that we have to account for.
So I'm going to try to find my Aberdeen roster.
So, Don, when you asked me to fill in the 1 year and I got to do the Crab Claw Classic
Oh, boy.
with Mike Bordick as my color commentator, they had no normal rules for that because it was an exhibition game. So people were coming out of the game and re-entering and coming out and re-entering.
Yeah.
And against all the rules of substitution in baseball, and even Mike Bordick, Hall of Fame Baltimore Oriole, was going, Ray, I don't know who's in the game right now. And nobody was telling us. And, you know.
So it looks like that number 6 that's replacing Castellanos at third base is Charles George, Jorge, the freshman. So now we go to the top of the 4th inning with our 5-0 score. Leading off is the number 9 hitter, and that is Lucas Fongermi. I like Lucas's name.
You pronounced it very well.
Well, I'm not sure I pronounced it correctly, though.
Oh, my.
Line drive, right field, base hit.
Yeah, he stung that. Can tell by the sound sometimes, Don.
Lucas Fongermi, the number 4 senior, gets the base hit. He had fanned back in the 1st inning. Number 9 hitter in the lineup.
Let's see if he's going to consider running.
Leadoff hitter Cox. Cox has been on twice, walked, reached on an error, scored twice. No indication of a bunt in that case.
Isn't that the epitome of a perfect leadoff hitter? On base twice, score twice?
Yep. 325 hitter, 13 hits on the year, 11 runs coming in. There he goes. Fly ball left field on the hit and run. That's falling fast. That's going to be fair. Base hit.
Ooh.
Turning second, heading for third, turning third. Here comes the throw. He will score on the double by Cox. Fongermi scoring all the way from first base on the double.
That must
down
have been
left
right
field
on the line, Don, because my angle could not tell.
Yeah. I was looking down the line, and it was fair by maybe a foot. So give Cox the double.
That's 2 now that they've hit to each line. Just barely skimmed in there.
Not the hit and run. So
That's a
Fongermi
nice hit ball. Wow, nice
caught
snag.
by the
Nope.
shortstop. Almost had the
Almost.
double play. Good job by Ringgold. Check,
Wow.
excuse me, not Ringgold, but Fleming, who went up the ladder, caught the ball.
Great play by your shortstop there. But, Don, is that the unfairness of baseball? Sometimes you hit a bloop that lands for a double or triple, and then you hit a screaming line drive like that.
Yep.
Our batter walked away shaking his head like, what else can I do?
Soriano now, he's 1 for 1, walked and doubled last time. Nice block by catcher Chauvel. Remember, that was the 3-run double that Soriano hit last time. 2 outs, and it looked like that Aberdeen might escape, but instead that 3-run triple made it 5-0. And now it is 6-0 with this 1 run scored. Swung on this,
pitch.
just on that outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out.
They say hitting a baseball is one of the most difficult individual skills in sports, Don.
I believe it. I think it separates, you can either hit the baseball or you can't. There he goes. And he'll be standing up as the ball is a wild pitch. Give a stolen base to Cox. That's his 2nd stolen base of the game.
He had a big jump there. I don't think they were going to get him if they even caught it.
And it looked like Zukowski wasn't checking on him either. He was kind of free to go. Infield in now. They're going to cut off the run if they can. 2 balls, 1 strike. Up high. 3-1. And top of the 4th inning, as you see, the 6-0 score. Havre Gray scored 1 in the 1st, 4 in the 2nd. None in the 3rd. And now we're in the top of the 4th. Back to the pitcher, over the pitcher. That's going to score the run and the base hit.
It's kind of what I'm talking about, Don. Our batter 2 batters ago hit a screaming line drive, and he's out. And that ball takes the perfect hop up and over the pitcher.
Yep.
Right in between.
And it's the price you pay. If you're going to bring your infield in, then, anything can get through. So it cuts down the angles.
Well, and the runner going from 2nd to 3rd on the previous, chance was what led to scoring that run. And we talked about the courtesy runner. It looks like they're having one go out there for our pitcher.
Soriano will be sitting down, and looks like is that number...
It's like number 8.
Number 8.
8 or 6, I can't
8,
tell.
I think. Is that Keegan Myers? Keegan Myers into courtesy run. Again, in high school, your catcher or your pitcher, you can put in a courtesy runner. Doesn't mean they have to come out of the game. It's just a courtesy. Kind of speeds up the game. They can get to the dugout.
Yeah, get their catcher gear on, get ready for pitch again. They're the pitcher.
Now, it's optional. You don't have to do it. Sometimes your pitcher is your best athlete, and you want to have him continue to stay on the field. Ringgold.
He's going to, but he swung and fouled it, so runner's got to go back to first base.
Remember, Ringgold is the one who made that excellent play here in the top of the inning.
I don't know how people generate that kind of velocity on a throw, especially from that distance in the hole at shortstop.
Well, Ringgold is a pitcher on the team, too. He's got 35 strikeouts in 28 innings, so he's got the kind of arm. Senior on the team.
Well, if this game goes long enough, we might see him in the game, so you never know. But our starter is doing really well and doesn't seem like he's had to throw too many pitches yet.
Yep.
I know in the major leagues in a 9-inning game, you generally see, oops, he
George
didn't pick it up. He's not throwing that.
Throws it out and gets him out at first base.
Him.
Runner to 3rd, the throw, he's going to be safe at 3rd. Boy, that was a nice play by George just into the ball game. 5-3, the out is recorded. Good play by the courtesy runner, Myers. Didn't stop at 2nd base, went all the way to 3rd, was able to dive in safely.
Well, I really like how our 3rd baseman stayed with that, Don. He bobbled the ball slightly. He didn't panic. He just calmly picked it up and gunned it over to first base.
Yeah.
So we got a 7-0 game right now.
Palmer Spence, the batter.
Got to get this, the pitcher wants to get this last out. He doesn't want to let this guy from 3rd come in.
Oh, up high and over his head. Spence, who grounded out to short in the 1st inning, reached on an error last time up, 0 for 2 officially. Batting .500, actually .500 on base percentage, has 10 RBIs and 2 doubles. Again, the principal's son. Upstanding young man, by the way. Line shot into left center field. That ball is tagged. It's going to be one hop against the fence. That's about 390 feet away on the double.
He got all of that.
He did that.
And you know, I said, I don't know if one could get hit out there. That one hopped to the fence, so.
It did. And the
impressive.
wind is certainly not helping today.
No.
Trying to find the flag to see which way the wind is blowing.
You get that nice summer sunny day with no wind, that ball carries out.
Palmer Spence clubbed that ball. He's now 1 for 3 with that RBI.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll bring up Nick Hall. Last time Hall on a sac bunt, he walked in the second inning and scored. Nick Hall, 6 RBI, 7 runs scored. Nick is senior. Swung on.
Nice breaking pitch.
Good stop by Shawal. Miles Shawel, the sophomore catcher, so we have a freshman catcher for Havre Grace and a sophomore catcher for Aberdeen. Both doing a great job.
Yes.
Curveball. And that is finally the last out of the inning.
Mm-hmm.
Not before Havre Grace scores 3 more times. They get 3 runs on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 base hits. And there were no errors and 1 runner left on base.
Well, Aberdeen's got to be able to figure out this pitcher, Don. I mean, they're having a hard time figuring him out and getting something going.
Yeah, 9 up and 9 down. So we'll start with the top of the lineup, David Mundrick here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Havre Grace coming in at 5 and 10, and again Aberdeen 3 and 11. Ray, you talked to Coach Arnold, and we also talked to Coach Blevins. Both of them say, hey, our season could have been a lot better.
Right.
We had a lot of close games. We lost close games. We're a young team basically, and you know we're on the come.
Well, Havre Grace is probably a 1A school, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. Aberdeen's a 3A, which puts them in the Baltimore County region, so they would be playing against the bigger Baltimore County teams in the region playoffs.
Havre Grace, Joppatown, and maybe Patterson Mill, I think are our 3 1As in the county, and Falston is either 1A or 2A.
Yeah, I think Falston depends on the sport. They're 1A in some sports and 2A in others. Harford Tech, I'm not sure about Harford Tech, what their classification is.
Yeah, we don't have many large schools in this county. When you get to Anne Arundel County, Montgomery County, you get those 4A, big 3A schools. You know, you got your Perry Halls and your Severna Parks in Baltimore County. I mean, they don't just have like a few more students than ours. They have like 1,000, 2,000 more students.
Well, there are 10 schools in our county, so you know they're well distributed. Think about it. Bel Air back in the day in the 1960s had 3,800 kids.
Wow.
Then they built C. Milton Wright. They built Falston and Patterson Mill. Then later, after 2000, and of course Harford Tech. At one time, Harford Tech was a very small school. Now there's such a waiting list to get into that school. You know, that they have taken a lot of the pressure off the other schools in terms of student load.
Yeah, my wife's a teacher at Southampton Middle School. She'd be happy for me to say in her last year.
There you go.
She's got retirement coming up. She said it's really tough to get into Harford Tech now.
Oh, yeah. David Mundrick, fly ball foul. Mundrick took a 3rd strike in the 1st inning. 282 hitter coming in. 2 doubles, 11 runs scored. Pitcher Nolan Panda Soriano.
Doing a whale of a job here.
Band 5. Pop up, foul, and out of play. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's had a 3-ball count yet, Ray.
So, Don, I deliberately did not park right behind here because I hear people talking about that ball going back near a car right now. So,
Yep. Oh, it hit him.
Oh.
That's taken one for the team.
Yeah, he's mad at himself now, the pitcher on that.
Yes, he is. And if you notice, Mundrick Yeah, he tried to get out of the way, but I think he said, I'm just going to take one for the team
Yes,
here.
he did.
Yeah. My old coach, Chuck Mars, an old coach, I say, he's 92. I think he's still a very young 92. But he said back in the day, his coach would take the blouse of his uniform, his
Right.
uniform top,
Pull it out some.
pull it out and say, lean in so you can get hit.
Yes.
You know, that's when your coach has no faith in you. Lean in so you can get hit. Thanks a lot, Coach.
That drives me crazy when I see major league players get to take first base when they have their shirt really loose.
Faze Frankenbaker. I love the name, Faze.
Well, I saw
Fazenberger, I'm sorry, the sophomore second baseman.
saw the Orioles in a playoff game in our 2012 to 2016 span, and our weakest batter was up.
Ground
There
ball.
we go. This could be tough, Don.
First baseman makes the play,
Oh,
drops it, doesn't have a play and
nothing.
throws it
There
away.
There's a third, too.
Yeah, runners at first and third. Bit of a problem there that Soriano didn't get off the mound quickly enough to cover first. First baseman Spence made the catch, then dropped it, then realized he had to hurry his throw. I think I'm going to have to give him an error. I think your first hit has to be a very clean one.
Yeah.
So let's give that an error. Put runners at first and third. More importantly for Aberdeen, nobody out. Bringing up Trevor Zakowski.
A hit batter and an error has totally put some runners on the base here.
Nobody out. Good frame job by catcher Caden Lucas.
Now we're going to test the pitcher's mettle here. First and third, nobody out. Let's see if he can get out of this. Could really use a strikeout here, Don.
Baker, do you steal? You're down by 7 runs.
Somewhat common wisdom says you don't run into an out, but I don't know anything about the catcher's arm.
Well, you figure a freshman, you would think, you know, he probably wouldn't have as strong an arm as he would later on.
They're holding him on first pretty good, though. He doesn't have a big lead.
Line shot into right center field. Blevins moving, and making the catch. Boy, he made up a lot of ground. The run will score on the sacrifice fly. Good catch by Blevins in center field. First run scored by the Havre Grace Warriors as Mundrick comes in from third base. Staying on at first base, so 1 out now, runner at first. That'll bring up Fleming, the cleanup hitter. Hayden Fleming, the shortstop.
Could still get a runner going here. Let's see what happens. Nice
Strike
pitch.
on the outside corner. Fleming, a fan looking the first time up. Comes in as a .357 batter. A double, 9 RBI, 7 runs scored, and 7 walks. So if you think about, you know, your most powerful hitter for Aberdeen, this is he. Down, oh, what a play.
Nice scoop.
Lucas able to backhand that ball. I mean, he had one chance to catch that ball and then just stick out the glove. Tina Mike, Fred Ripken, the late Fred Ripken. Tina here tonight. Typical, you know, grandmom. Very proud of her grandson.
Well, you can't not be. I mean, freshman starting on the varsity team.
A little bit of shot down the third base line. Wearing that Ripken number 7. Caden Lucas, great grandson of Cal Sr. We lost Cal back in 1999, age 62, much too young. The patriarch of the Ripken clan. Another foul ball.
Yeah, it's neat to have a family legacy of success like that. I mean, not nearly to that level, but like my son just, you know, we lost 2 of his grandfathers, and they were both great athletes. And it's really neat to look back and know that your previous family members were really successful too.
Well, outside. Yeah, I mean, the impact of grandparents. Parents are important, obviously, but grandparents have the freedom to love their
Yes,
grandkids
yes.
without the responsibility of disciplining them.
Oh, I've heard you talk about yours. You are very proud, and you should be.
Oh, you mean my perfect grandchildren?
Yes,
I
they don't
haven't
do
mentioned
anything
them yet.
wrong.
Fly ball. That
Oh,
ball was hit. Back, back, back. Left fielder back over his head. Over his head. Rounding third base, coming in to score. Fazenbaker scores. Triple
wow.
by Fleming. That ball was tagged. We've seen
Yes.
2 shots now.
And that's the toughest ball, they say, Don, the one right over you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's a hard ball to read.
So all of a sudden now, what had been a runaway game, 8-0, is certainly now a little bit tighter at 8-2.
Yeah.
RBI by Fleming. So we have seen Palmer hit the ball 1 hop off the fence. That one, maybe it wasn't 1 hop, but it was close. This brings up Zabisco.
It's only 1 out here. See if they can get the runner in from third.
Pop-up foul. Boy, the Eagles are getting much better strokes now, much better swings.
Yeah.
Don't know if they've made an adjustment. Maybe Soriano's getting a little bit tired. And we can now say that it is no longer a no-hitter.
Correct.
And the no-hitter broken up by that huge hit by Fleming.
Well, you called it, saying he was their most powerful hitter, Don. You're previewing things.
Pitching out of the stretch. Down low. And again, it's the option of the pitcher. I think I would throw out of the windup. You've got a 6-run lead.
Right.
The stretch tends to take a little bit off your pitch. So if it were me, I believe I would just try to hold him close, and he's going to score on a ground ball. Past the catcher. Nope. Runner is not coming. Well, good job by young Mr. Lucas coming back. You can tell that he is a hustler. He has the Ripken philosophy.
He got out of that squat back there to that ball in a snap. I mean, I would have pulled both my hamstrings, Don.
Outside.
He tried to frame that one, but it was a little too far outside. So now we got 2 ducks in the pond, as they would say.
First and third. That'll bring up Shoel, the catcher.
Coach coming out here, Don. We might be seeing a pitching change, but we'll have to see.
Pitching coach coming out to talk. A couple of the quotes that I was given by Cal. This is Cal Sr. Everybody on the field always has a job. He preached that no matter what the play or situation, every player on the field has a job to do. Does that sound like Cal Sr.?
Yes, I like it.
If you take care of all the little things, you'll never have a big problem.
Yeah. I like that because there's so many little incidental things in baseball, Don, that people take for granted. Runner on third base not being held on, why don't you have a good lead? You know, backing up your teammate on a play. All the little things.
Yep. First and third, 1 out.
So with 1 out, man on third, will the runner on first break?
Miles Shoel at the bat. Miles stand looking.
There he goes.
He'll hop in inside.
They're not throwing.
Runners now at second and third. 8-2, as you see, our score had been 8-0. Aberdeen here in the bottom of the fourth, scoring 2. Chance to add a couple of more. Inside. Ray, happy to say that rain, and this is another announcer jinx that had been threatening. It appears that we're now just cooler.
Don't say it, Don. Don't say we're safe from the storm.
Well, let's say the storm appears to have skirted us for the time being.
It's you turning. Watch it.
Line shot into right field. That's going to fall for the base hit. 1 run will score. Here comes the second run around. Nope. He goes back. Good play by Havre to hold the runner at third base.
Yeah, he relayed that ball in quick. I will say that was a good throw into the. And you know what, Don? We talked about running into outs. There's still only 1 out, so there's no reason to force that play at the plate.
Yep.
Now you still have a chance for first and third. I would think again the runner on first will steal second. They're doing a courtesy runner for him.
That's Dwayne Cox, by the way, who made that play in right field. Got it in so quickly. It'll bring up Dash Perry now. Dash grounded out to the third baseman, leading off the third inning.
So you had a dominant 3-inning pitching, and Aberdeen couldn't figure anything out. And now they're making a lot of good contact.
They really are. Perry, a 174 hitter on the year, up high and inside.
So Don, I heard a thing on like Major League Baseball where they say a batter should relay information to their next teammate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's throwing this pitch, he's doing that. I mean, did you tell your players to give each other information?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If you can pick up a little something the pitcher might be doing, maybe tipping off a pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pile back our way. Boy, they are right on the ball now.
Yeah.
In the first 3 innings, Ray, a no-hitter being pitched and fanning 5 of the 9 batters. Now all of a sudden it looks like every pitch they're right on it. Is it momentum? Is the pitcher losing a bit?
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think they're figured something out, and then, you know, the pitcher might be getting a little bit tired. I don't see where people warm up and if they're considering it, getting anybody ready.
There's a strike on the outside corner. Up and throwing the ball to third base is Lucas. Good play down at third base, Nick Hall, to keep it in the infield.
Mm-hmm.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Dash Perry, the batter. Ground ball foul.
A runner from first does not seem to be showing any inclination to break the second.
We didn't introduce him either. Do we have a number for him? He is the courtesy runner.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like number 2. That would be Josiah Gordon. There he goes.
Now, and they're letting him go.
Scooped in the dirt.
Would have been a tough pitch to throw a runner on anyhow.
Catcher Lucas pounding his glove, thinking maybe I should have come up with that cleanly. No, great stop.
Yeah, I think he did a great job.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Fly ball, right field and foul.
It's over by Ellie. I'm going to ask her later if she caught it.
You know, I'm sure Ellie would have caught it. Ellie, just again, one of the great athletes ever in Aberdeen history, going back into the 1970s. The big sister with those 3 boys. Swung on and missed.
Nice pitch.
Took a little bit off of it, got the strikeout. Can you imagine being the only girl in a family of those 3 males? She could hold her own, though.
Yeah, she's a heck of a bowler, too.
Jack Perdue now, 2 out. Boy, big situation. Outside corner, nice frame job by Lucas.
Batters are not liking that call, but that's what the umpires established.
Yep.
As you say, Don, when you say you have to take that ball and hit it the other way.
Just outside.
Were you a pull hitter or a slap hitter, Don?
I was mostly a non-hitter.
A missed the ball hitter? Is
yeah.
that what you were?
I was, you know, when you get to go out and play in the infield again.
You were happy if you hit the ball hitter. Okay, I get
Basically,
it.
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I peaked early. I peaked as a little leaguer and went downhill from there.
Well, at least you knew what you were talking about as a coach.
Oh, goodness. Big pitch here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out. Oh, big pitch.
They say a lot of coaches, Don, are managers are previous catchers or pitchers.
Yep. And also, if you've noticed, the really good managers, 90% of them were not great players. You know, you think about a guy like Ted Williams, who was a horrible manager because he just couldn't understand. He said, just hit the ball. Go up there, see the ball, hit the ball.
So I'm going to push back on that only slightly. I know where you're coming from. A lot of the good managers made it to Double-A Triple A.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say they weren't good players because you obviously, but they weren't the stars. I know what you mean.
Right.
Like Weaver, what was he? He made it to Double A or Triple A.
Triple A never played a day in the majors. So Walt Alston. I mean, you just go down the line. You can come up with maybe Frank Robinson, who was a good manager, had some success, but beyond that, it's really hard to come up with great players who became great managers.
And I know what you mean too, because part of coaching is being able to relate with the difficulties of the game.
Yep.
And, for the ones that were, everything came naturally easy. Now, some of them go on, like you had I'm trying to think of the other ones besides Mike Flanagan who became pitching coaches. But do you know of any other, like, star pitchers who became well-known pitching coaches? How about the guy that was the pitching coach for the all those great Braves pitchers? I think he was a pitcher too, but I don't know how good he was.
Maddox, it's his brother. Now, Greg Maddox, it was Mike Maddox who became the great pitching coach. I'm looking for, it looks like we got a new pitcher, number 25. Yeah, I've got part of my roster here.
Sometimes our rosters don't match what we see on the field, folks, so we're doing our best here.
Let's try to identify that young man. Somewhere here I have a sheet that might have his name. Maybe we can have our manager come over and tell us.
Looks like he read your mind, Don. Zakowski is now the DH.
Okay.
Katoski, number 27, is now defensively in the game.
Okay.
He's in right field. The right fielder, Perry, became the left fielder.
Hang on 1 second.
Say that, Coach.
All right. Zakowski is now the DH, so he's no longer on defensively. Number 27, Katoski, is now in the game, defensively only in right field. And then the right fielder, Perry, number 1, has moved over to left field. And the pitcher is number 25, Xavier Briscoe.
You did great in your 15 seconds of fame, Coach.
It was Coach Arnold from Aberdeen, and he was able to give you all the changes. The big one, Bisco on the mound for Aberdeen.
I thought you changed your voice for 20 seconds there, Don.
Yeah, he was really good. I don't want him back on the mic.
No, he was better than us.
Yeah, exactly. Go back to your coaching. Leave us
Don, I was very impressed with your improvisation there. You just handed him the set.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying, Coach. Well, here we go now to the top of the 5th inning.
Got a new ball game here.
Yeah, we do. It is now 8-2. And or 8-3, I should say. Imagine had that hit been able to get a hit there to make it 8-5, how much closer the game would have been. Yeah, and here is Caden Lucas, the freshman. Caden, who got on an error in the 2nd inning, scored a run, popped up to the first baseman last time up. His 3rd plate trip. He's batting .206 as a freshman. Has 9 runs scored, 6 RBIs.
He's caught a heck of a game.
Outside, and boy, now the sun has again come out here. You may be able to see it, but the sun is shining brightly.
It's going to be tough for the left fielder here. Catch that ball.
3rd baseman, shortstop, the sun right in their eyes.
I just saw the 3rd baseman put his hands up in front of his face like to say, man, I hope they don't hit a screamer at me.
So Bisco, the pitcher, now walks the first batter that he faces.
Don, that was a lot of switches from that coach. And he switched like 3 different players, 3 different places, and added a pitcher.
Zay Bisco comes in from left field. Strike is the call.
He offered at that.
We're talking about the Jackie Robinson game, which is something Aberdeen High School started about 3 years ago on or around April 15th when Jackie broke the color line back in 1947. They have a game dedicated to not only Jackie Robinson, but to all that he meant in terms of the change, not only on baseball, but in society in general. And he said that Zay Bisco did a wonderful job. I mean, remember, timeout is being called. These kids have no idea who Jackie Robinson was. I mean, 1947, Jackie passed, in 62?
Yeah.
So, but they read the history of it. They found out not only what he has done, as a baseball player, but the fact that he was a Army lieutenant. He was court-martialed because he refused to go to the back of the bus. Was able to, of course, beat that charge. He was a star at UCLA, 28 years old when he finally broke into the majors in 1947. So all the lessons that Jackie Robinson taught us as a society, Aberdeen is perpetuating that in the Jackie Robinson
Do you
game.
know whose idea that was? Is it the current coach or was it Tim Lindekamp?
No, it is Arnold's coach, Rob Arnold's idea.
That's awesome.
And he's trying to expand it throughout the county to have the lessons of Jackie Robinson expanded.
That's wonderful.
So they try to do it on April the 15th because that was the day that Jackie in 1947 broke into the major leagues.
It's a much better reason to remember April 15th than Tax Day.
Ooh, tax day. Jesse Lane now. Thank you, Ray. You'll just edit a pain here in my back and side. The tax man was not kind to me this year.
So when my accountant calls me and tells me about a date, I could say Jackie Robinson Day? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking about?
Jackie Robinson Day, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Back on the bus.
he's a player out of my own heart because I'm a track person also, and his speed and how he could steal home plate,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
If you ever watch him run, he just had that unique running style.
Yeah.
Down to, what a nice scoop
Yeah.
at Shoel, who was able to backhand it. Again, he's only a sophomore. We've talked about Lucas, the Havre Grace catcher, but Shoel's done a great job as well.
Yeah. Well, that's an important inning for them. Here he goes a second. He
Nice.
would have had that stole. Lucas would have had that stole easily if he wasn't fouled off.
By the way, that was Chad Blevins making that catch in the throw. Chad went to Cal Ripken's camp for like 5 years in a row back in the 80s into the 90s. Or maybe the early 90s, actually.
This is a very important inning for Aberdeen, Don. I mean, they got back in the game enough there with 3 runs. The last thing they want to do is give them back runs right away.
Here's Lucas Von Jimmy now. Lucas got the single last time up, leading off the 4th inning. Scored a run. 1 for 2 on the day. Fanned his first time up. Bunt.
Wow.
Going to go foul.
Now, Don, that's one of those game of inches thing. If that would have caught grass instead of just hitting the dirt, it might not have kicked as much.
Yep.
Bunting's a tough skill. I mean, how much did you have your players practice that?
Oh, a lot. And usually it's a formality. Okay, bunt 2 and then hit. No, we bunted until we got it right. Okay, you can hit as soon as you learn to bunt correctly. And again, it is a lost art. Earl Weaver, the great manager, hated the bunt because he said that's like giving an out. Some coaches feel a different way, and so he was pretty successful, I think.
Especially back then with ERAs.
Ground ball, that's going to be tough. Scoop by the shortstop, throw to first base.
Went by.
Went by the first baseman.
Oh, he's running back to the base.
But the run will score.
Yeah.
Lucas will score the run from second base.
I don't know how much of that we caught on the camera there, Don, but here's the thing. Our base runner that hit that ball, he turned into fair play after he saw the ball going by. He thought about going to second, but then since the fence kept the ball close and the first baseman hustled over there, he had to hurry back to the base.
Yep.
Because if you turn back into fair play, then you don't just get the jog back to first base.
Dwayne Cox, the leadoff hitter. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Oh, nice scoop. Fake
Is there
down
a
to
name
second.
for that roll, Don? I don't know what it's called, but
Yeah, it's if you turn like you said and go to second base, you have to get back. The last out of the game that we did a couple days ago in Bel Air exactly happened where the Aberdeen runner beat it out, thought she was going to go to second, and then sort of walked back to first base. They tagged her out, and that was the final out of the game. So, yeah, it's a small thing, is one of the Cal Ripken's quotes. Do the small things right. So, yeah.
I've seen major league players turn the wrong way.
Yep.
And then the first baseman was smart enough to go out and tag him.
By the way, Lane did go down to third base on that play. So we have runners at second and third, 1 run in. Lead back up to 9-3. We are in the top of the 5th inning. Cox, who got on an air, walked, and hit a double last time up. Got an RBI and a stolen base.
Nice pitch.
Remember, Cox was a young man that hit that ball a long distance out there to left field.
I think he was taken all the way there down on the 3-0 count.
Yeah. 3 balls and a strike. Ground ball foul. Now, give credit to
Our third base coach is really getting some action over there, isn't he?
Yeah, Joey Speed's wife, Amelia Speed, who is the head coach of the Bel Air Bobcats, I'm sorry, the Havre Grace Warriors. I'll get it right, the Aberdeen Eagles. She had a young lady who hit the ball foul about 6 straight times, peppered her. I was going to ask Joey if his wife had been bruised because there's a fly ball into left field. Moving on to this left fielder, and no, it gets by him. Looked like he had a chance to make the catch, did not make it. 2-run score, down to third base. What speed by Cox. Gets a double into left field and takes third on the throw. Gets 2 RBIs. Looked like the left fielder had a chance to make that catch.
Yeah.
Unable to make it, 2-run score.
We'll give our base runners credit for being on the ball and hustling there.
That makes it now 11-3. We'll bring up Chase Blevins, son of the coach. And again, we now get into this close to the mercy rule situation where 11-3, if they were to score 2 more runs, then Aberdeen would have to score a run to keep the game going in the bottom of the inning. Blevins, who lined out to the shortstop, as Ray described it, no justice, hit it hard.
Yeah.
Reached on an error and then fanned, so he is 0 for 3, does have a run scored. Coming in as a .286 hitter.
Yeah, it's turned out very nice weather here, Don. I mean, this is the ideal weather for any sport right now.
Yeah, the temperatures were, what, in the low 80s maybe at one point today. It's probably now down in the 60s, and the breeze has sort of slowed. Nice play by Chawal.
He snagged a lot of backhanded pickups at catcher today, Don.
Yeah. Done a good job again. Both catchers have done well. 3 balls and a strike. Runner on at third. Ground ball.
That could be a tough play.
Coming in and bobbling the ball is the third baseman. The run will score. Boy, Cox got such a jump. I think he would have beaten it anyhow. Give the error to the third baseman, and the run will score. That's Cox from third base.
That would have been a tough play to make, even if he picked it up clean right away.
I agree.
That was what do they call it, Don? A swinging bunt.
It was. And the thing about Cox, and you mentioned earlier, Ray, and that is the secondary lead, being ready to take the jump, and he was moving as soon as that ball was hit.
There's an old saying in sports, Don, speed kills. And he knows he's fast.
Soriano.
There we go. Runner goes to second on that.
Wild pitch as Blevins will go down to second on the wild pitch.
Or there's another saying, you can't coach speed. Is that? And I think that means, you know, you don't even have to sometimes. Quick players take advantage of those plays.
A double, a single, and 4 RBIs for Soriano. He had that bases clearing double. That's their turn to throw to second base, but the second baseman was not covering. Again, small things do them right. That time the second baseman wasn't covering and the ball went right by into center field. So the error to the pitcher moves the runner down to third base.
Coach coming out, giving a talk.
And again, that run is so important because from 12-3, if he scores, makes it 13-3. And then again, now you're in danger of the game being called after 5 innings.
Do they have? When you have near the end of your season, Don? Do baseball teams have senior day too, where they try to put every senior in the starting lineup?
Yeah. In fact, the game we were talking about, Aberdeen and Bel Air, a couple of days ago, was senior day for Bel Air. But one of the nicest things, right before the game, the 4 seniors for Bel Air went over and presented roses to the Aberdeen seniors.
Cool.
It was one of the nicest, most sportsmanship thing I've seen in a while.
Very nice.
So it was not senior day for Aberdeen, but it was celebrating seniors and the Bel Air kids it was a very nice affair. They had pictures and, you know, everything. And they thought enough to be able to take a rose over and give it to the and they had like 6 seniors for Aberdeen. So
let's do a shout out to our umpires. I mean, that's a tough job.
Yep.
What a tough sport to coach. And here's the thing. We don't have 4 of them here like they do in major leagues, Don. They got 2. And you got to make the decisions on each of the bases.
Brian McCulley and Gary Schertz are the 2 young men you're talking about. It looks like we're getting a change in the pitcher, and it
Number
looks
17.
like 17 is David Mundrick. David, who started in center field, will now be coming into pitch.
Do you understand the rules, Don, on where the umpire, the ump in the field goes based on where the runners are?
Yeah, if there's a runner on second base, then the first base umpire has to go over behind the shortstop because he has to call. In fact, we saw that happen where there was a tag play at first, talking about the game on Wednesday, where the tag was made, but the umpire from second base couldn't see it. Plate umpire took the call and made the call. So there's a lot of coordination that has to go into it. By the way, this young man, David Mundrick, haven't mentioned it, he is a 4.7 GPA student, headed for the U.S. Naval Academy, wants to be a pilot.
Man, good athlete and good student. Wow.
Only a junior, so his aspiration is the Naval Academy.
Don, I've told you before, I got a 4.7 if you added my first semester to my second semester.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say that. For me, it's 4.7 would be pushing it a bit. Folks like from my era would say, well, 4.0 is perfect. Well, what they do is they give you a 5.0 if you have a what they call advanced placement course, an AP course. So an A in that course gets you, a 5.0.
Yeah, it's tough to juggle being an athlete and a good student, and a lot of these young men and women have to work part-time jobs too. Yeah. So they're busy.
And David plays soccer as well, so he's at least a two-sport star, as well as being, an academic star. 4.7 GPA. That means you have to be almost straight A's, and in the
tough classes.
In the AP classes, which are, very, very tough. Well, the runner at third base is Blevins, and that is a key run with Soriano at the bat. He would be that 13th run to give him the 10-run lead if he scores.
And we have our pitcher up the bat.
Mr. Soriano had that, I guess you call that the game breaking in the second inning. We had that bases loaded double that cleared the bases.
Oops.
Blevins thinks about it, but the ball bounces right back to Showell.
Yeah. Got a 3-0 count here, Don. When the pitcher's wild like this, just came into the game, he's probably going to take. But
you're the number 3 hitter. If I were the coach, I would be giving him the swing.
I was going to say, it's a green light sometime when 3-0.
Because the pitcher's going to try to get it across.
Oh.
Took a lot off of it, did get it across, 3-1. Nolan Pandas Soriano, 370 hitter, 19 RBIs on the year coming in, 2 home runs. Had that walk-off home run against North Hartford.
That's way up there.
Tagging at third. Blevins tags, and here he comes. And the throw, and Blevins will score easily. And that will be the 13th run and the RBI for Soriano.
Well, you know what, Don? That's an unsung thing there that I kind of get mad at my own team I root for in the Orioles. Getting there running from third with nobody out.
Yeah.
Scoring runs on outs is an art, and he just hit a long fly ball and it got the guy in.
Put the ball in play.
And in those 2-1 games, that really matters.
What is it that Cal Ripken said? Do the small things well. If you take care of all the little things, you'll never have a big problem. Cal Ripken Sr., the memory of Cal on Cal Ripken Senior Field on Fight for the Fungo night. Pop-up.
Could be in no man's land. Oh, there he is.
Second baseman is going to make the catch, and that will bring the inning to a conclusion, but not before Havre Grace scores 4 runs.
I think that's the second out, Don.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They do give them 3 outs, don't they?
Yes.
Sorry.
So I got faked out on that play because I didn't see where the ball was, but I saw the center fielder and the second baseman running over to the right. I thought it was going to be one of those bloopers in between nobody, like what do they call the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, Palmer Smith's the batter. Boy, you said that so nicely. I think that's only the second out. Thank you, Ray Roos. Yes, only 2 outs. They do allow you through. Now the bases are empty. There are 2 outs. Spence at the bat. Remember Spence, who hit that, gargantuan shot last time up.
Yes.
One hop the fence at 390 feet away. No, I've never hit the ball 390 feet. No. Not if you put together 4 of my, dribbler base hits. Palmer Spence, the son of Brad Spence, the principal. Well, you talk about one of the great guys. I don't know if you know Brad or not, but Brad's been around. He was at Edgewood and at C. Milton Wright, and he came over to Havre Grace the year after Jimmy Reynolds went to Harford Tech. Line shot into center field.
I'm sure I've met him.
He's one of those principals that, you like the guy.
Right.
Principals, you're supposed to not hate them, but fear them. But he's such a good guy, and he cares about the kids so much that, he's well liked by all. So that's the second hit. 2 hits now out of 4 for Spence.
He stung that ball well.
He did. Nick Hall, now the senior third baseman, walked, sack bunt, last time struck out.
Another tough position, Don. They call it the hot corner for a reason. I mean, I've done infield on men's softball teams, and that ball comes at you so fast, you're like, okay, I can play the outfield.
Reactions, that's all it is.
Yeah. Oops.
Brooks Robinson, people don't know this, started as a second baseman, and they found out he was so slow, that he couldn't make the plays at second base. So they said, well, okay, we'll put him at third. He doesn't have to, move too much. Sort of a step and a dive.
Yeah.
Little did you know that he was going to be the greatest, my opinion, defensive third baseman
And
of all time.
You are right. You are right.
Here's the thing about Brooks. Brooks was ambidextrous. He did everything left-handed, and I think that's what made him so good, that it was natural to him to use his left hand.
Yeah.
Whereas most right-handers, their left hand is your weak hand, so you have to learn to be able to make the play.
Was it the 66 or 70 World Series that he almost single-handedly won with his defensive plays against, I think it was the Reds?
The Big Red Machine. You're absolutely right. He made play after play after play. Fly ball, second baseman moving, right fielder coming. Second baseman will make the play, and that, this time for sure, will bring to a close, since that is the third out, not the second out of the inning. 4 runs on, let's see, 1.
Don, if you kept saying it, you were going to be eventually right. I mean, isn't that how they say it sometimes?
2 base hits. There were 3 errors and 1 runner left. 1 runner left on base. So we have now played a 4.5 innings with a score 13-3. And again, as we've mentioned, since now Aberdeen will have hit 5 times, if they fail to score here, trailing by 10 runs, the game would come to an end. Mercy rule, as they call it. So let's root for Aberdeen to get at least 1 run and hopefully
I know the
more.
crew is rooting for them.
I can tell.
Because they don't like to leave early.
Wait a minute, my mic is gone quiet again. They've shut me off. No. We have, and I guess we haven't said that, Dennis Cassidy, our director today. This crew, I mean, they are all professionals.
They're so good.
They take their job seriously and using equipment that, yes, it's good equipment, but it certainly isn't. There you see, look, that's Mino.
Yeah,
He's copying for himself, no, for us. But their equipment is good equipment, no question about it. But certainly not like what the, big networks have.
Right.
But they make it look like,
Don, we were doing the track meet, and Mino was down the near the finish line, and he at one point we're calling the meet, and Mino does fingers across the track like you're running, and my cohort said, I think Cousin It's here.
Oh, looks like we have a new pitcher coming in.
There he is, Don. Yes.
There he is, Mino, in person. Now he even is a good-looking guy, too.
I know. Makes
Think
me
about
mad.
it. He's
Gosh.
talented. Oh, and wait a minute. Who's that camera? Oh, there he is. Is that
There's
Mark?
another one. There's another one,
Yeah. Let's get them all on. Oh, okay. There's the crew. There's Alan waving.
Yes.
Look, there's Dennis.
They were talking technical stuff earlier about how
now
they
they're
were
shutting the door on us.
how they were going to do the wires and everything, and I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. But
I thought Dylan's was the best when he was giving us the instructions. Now, if rain comes, take the monitor, put it on top, cover it. I said, yeah, but we're getting soaked. He said, we don't really care about you.
you and I did a game, what was it, 2 years ago?
At second base. Freeze in center.
Now we're getting
41 to the right.
41 right.
Left.
16
Wow.
left.
Hang on one second here. Do you mind telling the folks? We have another person going to talk to you. What is your name?
Nate.
Nate.
15's in first. 16's in left. 3's in center. 41's in right. 8's at second.
Thanks, bud.
Wow. Good job. And he remembered all that. I forgot. Who did he? What did he? Good job.
So,
I didn't get his name. Did he say Nate was
yes,
his name?
Nate's his name.
Nate is one of the managers. Boy, you talk about a thankless job, being a manager. You know, were you ever a manager of a team?
I've coached and managed a lot. Don, I got to make fun of you for something else, though. You were joking about Dylan with the rain. What was it, last fall or the fall before? We were at Falston, and they offered us a tarp for the game.
Oh, yeah.
And Don goes,
No,
it's not going to rain.
Yeah, we don't need a tarp.
And then it downpoured for 2 hours, and we were drenched.
Oh, gosh, yes.
So you're not going to be a weatherman,
I
Don.
do remember that, yeah.
Oops.
Okay, for Aberdeen now, let's see if we can get the young man who's batting. That is number 6? Yeah. So that would be Charles George, who came in the ball game to play third base.
That ball almost looked like he swung at it and it hit him, but I think it just went off the catcher's glove. But Don, what's the rule in that? If you swing and miss a ball, but it still hits you, it's not a hit batter. It's still just a swing and miss.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you and again in the new rules with the major leagues, where a half swing, if you cross the plate, it's a swing. Yeah.
Well, that's the craziest thing for a first base or third base umpire to call is from 90 feet away. They got to determine if the person's check swing went past the front of the strike zone, or as they say, they broke their wrist.
Yep.
You know, it's a tough call.
So George takes the third strike. That'll bring up Mundrick, David Mundrick, who started in center field and now was the pitcher earlier. So again, 2 outs away from the end of this game, unless Aberdeen can score a run. Swung on and missed.
Man, he's that looks like some junk or something there, Don. It's like a high, slow pitch that they're swinging right through.
And that's Soriano, who has pitched the entire game. You're right. I think maybe he's saying, I'm going to, throw the junk up there and let's see what they can do. It might be a new pitcher. Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
20-something there.
Yep. Thank you for that correction. It's looking for a number here. Ground ball up the middle.
That's going to be a tough play. But
Ringgold.
That ball went off the lip of the grass to the dirt. Tough play there. 28, Don, is our pitcher.
28. Okay, Soriano was 24.
So that's an adjustment for batters to make when a new pitcher comes in and he's throwing different stuff. And
I don't have a 28 on my roster. I apologize for that. This is a phase of Frankenbaker. That's Mr. Ray is going to go over and see if we can get the name of the pitcher. Frankenbaker is got on an error and grounded out. Ray is back. Oh, Nick Hall. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I was looking for someone in the sub. He had come in from third base. Thank you.
What's that? They gave us the numbers, but not the names. The young man that came out here.
Yeah. Ground ball.
I could do what Don does if you want to say them for us.
And a good play from third base to first. That's Soriano. Oh, yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to, it's Brad Spence, how you doing? I just wanted to
Brad.
announce the changes for Havre Grace. We got Nick Hall on the mound. We got Mike Jones playing first base. We got Keegan Myers at second now. We got Caleb Harris in left field and Gavin Bolin in right field now.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
That's Brad Spence, the principal now, who's also the substitute announcer.
So, did they do 5 changes at one time to test us, Don?
And we failed. Or at least I failed miserably. But thank you, Brad Spence, the principal of Havre Grace.
That's a lot to say.
Again, I talked about what a good guy he is.
Oh,
Shot into left field. That's going to be a base hit. And this game is going to continue as the double down the line. And now he's stretching it.
Triple.
And he's turning third.
Nope.
He's going to stay
Wise
there.
decision.
Now here he comes halfway down. Basenbaker with a double
Man, he tagged that ball
He
down.
did call it a triple down that left field line. Plating Mundrick, who had gotten on an error. So the RBI triple by
Baker.
Faison Baker.
So I don't know if it's Faison Baker or Bacher because I've coached people that had both names.
Yep, it's Faison Baker is the name. And now, is this Kowski at the plate? Let's see, they've made some changes. This is number 24.
So I don't know if the coaches for Havre de Grace Don were just moving people or they were getting people in the game with the large lead there.
This is Fleming, by the way, the shortstop.
So I do see down that we have behind us, we do have an athletic trainer here in the Jeep, so that's great.
Check the number at third base. I believe that is
the runner or the fielder.
No, it wasn't Faison Baker. It was instead number 30 Zakowski who got that big hit. So credit Trevor Zakowski with the base hit, not Faison Baker. And now this does bring up Fleming. Swung on a miss.
Nice pitch.
Fleming, who got the big double last time up, got that RBI. Broke up the no-hitter, if you will. Now it's 13-4, so we are assured we're going to be going to a sixth inning.
Oops, high pitch.
And here comes the runner in from third. The throw, save. Nice job. Good job by Trevor Zakowski, who broke on the play and scored the run.
Yeah, that ball kicked off to the left there, so that was a tough play for the catcher to make.
Yeah, and give him a lot of credit. Once he made up his mind, and he made his mind up real quickly, he just came right on in.
He had a good read on that one, that's for sure. So now the bases are cleared. We have a 13-5 game here.
Aiden Fleming now 1 for 2. Pop up, second baseman back, center fielder in, falls in there for the base hit. Boy, that was a tough play for second baseman.
Yeah, that's a tough over-the-shoulder play there, that's for sure.
Jesse Lane went back and, I think he was looking to be called off, but Blevins was not able to get there. So it is another base hit.
I don't even know how they catch some of those kind. I mean, that's Don. Sometimes I don't even feel how the fielder sees it, and they just reach out their glove and they snag it. It's a good pitch.
Strike on the inside corner. Should be Zabisco. Choking up, you don't see that very much anymore either.
Here he goes.
Throw down to second base, a little bit high into center field.
So both teams are on their second and third pitchers, Don. I mean, you do get to the point where you start running out of people a little bit, right? And you got to show your team depth.
It's the only time Aberdeen and Havre de Grace will meet this year. They're in separate divisions, the Tidings and the Hatem, so normally they would play twice. It's one of the problems, I think, with the new setup where natural rivalries that used to be, you see them twice a year. Now you only see them one time.
I did see in another sport that I called for you, Don, that even though Joptown and Edgewood were not in the same division anymore, they deliberately scheduled each other twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't know they could do that.
Yeah. I mean, you in your non-division games, you're allowed to schedule who you want technically as an AD. So they try to get a little variety.
There he goes. Strike on the outside corner, and that will bring to an end our top of the fifth inning, or I should say bottom of the fifth inning. Aberdeen will score 2 runs. They get 2 runs. Let's see now,
so we got a 13-5
13-5. I'm just trying to figure they got 2 runs in that inning, so they got 3 runs in the previous inning. So they had 2 runs on 2 base hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base. We have played now 5 full innings of score. 13-5 is the score.
Got our same pitcher coming back out here, Don, from the end of the last inning. So.
If we had lights, this would be the time to turn the lights on because It is getting a little bit dark here.
Mm-hmm.
The time is about 6:57. If you don't know, Aberdeen does have lights, but they've had trouble with fuses. It seems like fuses are hard to come by,
Yes.
or at least the proper ones. Thought they had the right ones, but turned out they weren't. And this was supposed to be a night game starting at 6 o'clock. It started at 5, but you know, it's been a long game with a lot of pitches, and so it is getting a little darker here at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I guess technically an umpire can call a game to the dark, but hopefully we won't get to that situation.
Yep.
Have to put a lot more runs on the board to do that. But we have had plenty of runs this game, Don.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the umpires would have to think about a safety situation if it does become to the point where they don't think the players can adequately see the ball. They
Right.
obviously do have that power. But boy, give Aberdeen a lot of credit. They could have laid down and this
Yes.
game could have been over, but scoring those 2 runs to make it 13-5.
They keep battling. You gotta love that as a coach.
Number 8 for Havre Grace is on deck. Thank you. Thank you, Nate. So we have here in the batter's box is Caden Lucas. Who is it?
Keegan Myers.
Yeah, Keegan Myers. Thank you, Nate.
So Havre Grace definitely trying to get some players in the game here. What do you normally like to carry for a roster, Don? If you too many is what,
Yeah,
not enough
yeah.
is what?
Yeah, especially in the spring where if a kid's not playing, especially if he's a senior, you know, I used to tell my seniors, well, it doesn't look like you made the starting lineup. You know, if you think you're going to have trouble sitting on the bench come May,
Right.
you know, maybe you don't want to play and open up a spot for a younger person. Because the last thing I wanted to do was have somebody be there who wasn't excited about being there.
That's a very kind way of putting that. And I've done that with soccer where I've had to definitely explain to an upperclassman, I can keep you, but you're not going to start. You're not going to get in all the games. But if you want to be a part of the team, kind of put the ball in their court a little bit. But
See, in the fall, that works because the kids are kind of excited. In the spring, when they're thinking about
Right.
the graduation,
yes.
It becomes kind of a burden.
16, Caleb Harris.
Okay, and then we're having a pinch hitter coming up. Number 16, Caleb Harris, will be coming up next.
So in baseball, is a number like 14 or 15 a good number
Yeah,
for a roster?
normally 15 is what you carry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is people that can pitch.
Yeah, and injuries. You know, you never know who's going to be injured.
And you always have the JV that you can pull people up from. Oh,
They have rules about that you can pull them up once, but not you can't put them back down. So it's not like a revolving door. Keegan Myers now the batter, pinch hitting, line shot, almost called by the second baseman, knocked down, play to second base for the out. But that was a nice play by Jesse Lean.
you stayed with it, and
Checking not Jesse Lean, but by Fazenbaker to Aiden Fleming. And we have another player coming in. Who's that, Nate?
Number 11, Gavin.
Okay. Nate's keeping us informed on who's coming up here. To see a number on this young player.
runner's breaking, and the ball got past the catcher, so he's in standing.
Yeah, this is number 16. This is Caleb Harris at the bat. 1 out. Ball 1, runner on at second base.
And that last pinch batter nailed that ball.
He did. There he
Runner's
goes
going
down
to
to third.
third.
Here's a throw. It's going to be wide.
Aaron-
Backed up by the shortstop. Brilliant play.
He got caught. Now we got our
Ringgold.
first run down.
Ringgold and gets the tag out at the plate.
So the little things, Don, the backup
Yep.
made that play work for the field.
Ringgold, who gets it, throws to the catcher for the out.
So who's our shortstop from Aberdeen out there now that made that play? Because if he
Yeah.
doesn't back up the third baseman,
Yeah, I said it was Ringgold. It's actually Aiden Fleming. There you see him, number 24, one of the captains of the team, a 4-year player, and that explains again.
very heads up.
You played 4 years, you're the captain of the team. This young man, 3.5 GPA. He spoke at the Jackie Robinson game, I'm told,
Awesome.
and just did a wonderful job. Foul back our way.
Our runner on third did not even expect him to be over there.
Yep.
That's how quick he got over there for that backup.
And then he said, oops, I better go back. Oops, I can't.
Yes.
I am dead.
I'm caught here.
Nice changeup swung on and missed. And that is the third out of the inning.
Okay, Aberdeen, you got to put some runners on the bases here. Get back in this game now.
Bottom of the sixth inning, this being high school, being 7 innings.
So we don't have a clock in baseball, folks, but time is not on your side sometimes.
Looks like the umpires are discussing. Umpires are discussing just what we were talking about, looking up, and they may be wondering that I see a kind of a shrugging motion by one of the umpires.
Mm-hmm. Are they worried about the...
I think the safety of the players.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem that dark yet to me. What do you? You're more of a baseball guy.
Yeah,
Is this
that ball comes at you so fast.
right?
You know that I don't know. It's getting to the point where, if I were a coach, especially if I were on the winning side, I would say it's too dark to play out here.
My players can't see the ball. I do get what you're saying. If this was a soccer game, you wouldn't be thinking about stopping it. Bigger ball, safer.
Yep.
But yes, for a baseball, that's tough to see.
Going back to that Aberdeen game where Cal Ripken was pitching and they were battling for the state semifinals, I can recall when the rains came down and the field was awash, George Conley, who was the coach for Aberdeen, said, there's no way the kids can play in this, and he was slipping and sliding. The coach for the other team was saying, it's drying up, really, it's getting dry. Look, the sun is out. And the umpires finally said, no, this game is over. They wiped out the 4-1 deficit Aberdeen had, came back, and Aberdeen won the game and won the state title.
Isn't it interesting how rules change? I mean, now they pick it up from there, and you know, you still got to come out of that hole being down, but wow, they got a do-over.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was a rule that was changed after that because of that, but I always tell people about Cal Ripken, who was a great athlete and a very dedicated, but also was very fortunate throughout his whole career to be able to play as long as he did, you know, suffering injuries that occurred on the day before an off day. So anyhow, now we're back to the top of the 7th inning. Top of the 6th inning, excuse me. Bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah.
We'll get it right eventually.
He thought about swinging at that pitch. The ball dropped a lot.
It is Miles Showell, the catcher for Aberdeen, the batter. Miles had a single last time up. He's 1 for 2. Game was 8-0 at one point. Aberdeen closed it to 8-3. Aberdeen Grace made it 13-3. Aberdeen scored the 2 runs to keep the game alive at 13-5. So that's where we are. Thanks for tuning in on the Fight for the Fungo night. Line shot, that's going to be a base hit. Showell with his second base hit.
Courtesy runner coming in, number 13.
For Aberdeen.
Yes.
Let's see. Aberdeen's number 13. That's Knight Cox, sophomore.
Oh, they almost picked him off there, Don.
See, that's what you don't want to have happen. You go in as a pinch runner and get picked off.
There's no challenge here, guys. You can't do the challenge.
That's Rob Arnold you saw in the foreground telling his runner, you need to get back a little quicker.
We need more 8. We need 8 more runs. You can't get thrown out. Come on.
Woody out, runner at first base. Dash Perry, the batter, he's 0 for 2. Grounded out to third and struck out.
Nice pitch.
Yep.
Good. Here's some good chatter over here for the Aberdeen, trying to keep the spirits up.
Nick Hall, who came in relief, swung on and missed. Gets the strikeout. I'm going to guess that maybe the umpires were saying, we'll give you the bottom of this inning.
Mm-hmm.
We'll reevaluate when we come to the top of the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Brings up Jack Perdue. Jack, who has fanned twice, he would love to get off the snide.
Pitcher's commanding the outside of the strike zone right now and making them chase. Put that one in the middle, though.
Pop up, third baseman moving. Making the couch in foul territory. That's Soriano, who had been the pitcher, now playing third base. 2 out now.
Isn't it interesting how the ball moves when it's up in the air high like that, Don? I mean, that must be really tough to read.
Ball tends to come back
Yes.
to you, like it'll come, the spins back.
Mm-hmm.
This is Charles George at the bat. Swung on and missed.
So if the umpires are not going to give him the next inning, this might be our last out, but we will see.
Swung on and missed. 2 strikes.
What pitch would you think that is, Don? It's like, I don't know if that's a fastball or not.
Yeah, it looks like it might be some sort of, maybe a cut fastball.
Mm-hmm.
Swung on and
There
missed.
it is.
And down he goes.
So let's see what happens here.
So that is the last out of the bottom of the 6th inning. 13-5 is our score. No, the Eagles look like they're going back out.
Okay.
So the umpires are troopers. They're saying, yeah, let's just go ahead and get our 7th inning in.
I think they probably were giving them a, if we have some long innings,
probably.
we might not get all of this in.
So now the Warriors will send up their batters in the top of the 7th inning.
28th in pitching for the rest of the game.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Hall.
Nick Hall will be pitching the rest of the game, which in effect would be one more half inning if the game stops the way it is. 13-5, as you see, our score.
Don, we need somebody like Nate at every game to give us all this information.
Nate is doing a great job. I really like it. And Brad Spence, the principal, coming over and offering, and Rob Arnold, the coach. For
Yeah, this is
Aberdeen.
the first for me to have 2 coaches on the headset during the game. That's
Liking
neat.
it. Yeah.
Though I did do a new thing for you at the swim meet the last couple of years. I added coaches interviews. And you know what? I like to give a shout out to the other teams that won and athletes. A young lady from Havre, Grace, Gabby, she was the star swimmer, and she was nervous to come on the headset, but she did a really good job. Not everybody's willing to do that.
Nope. Yeah, we mentioned that Miss Austin, who was asked to come on the mic to talk about Austin Lucas, who is the mother of Caden Lucas, and she declined, and she said no, she didn't want to make her son nervous.
I was going to say, if he's not catching, he's still catching, isn't he?
Yeah,
Darn. If he isn't, I would have gone over and tried to get her over here for you.
Well, Havre Grace now will send up.
Bowling up the bat.
What's that?
In case Casey guys forgot, this is Gavin Bowling up the bat.
Thank
Gavin
you.
Bowling. Thank you.
Yeah, Gavin Bolin is the batter,
Number 3, Torrin Griffin is on deck.
and Torrin Griffin is on deck. See, I like Nate because he realizes there's a ground ball, second base. Nope, cut off by the pitcher, and the throw to first base. Nice job there, being able to come over and make that play.
Was that one of our few left-handers we have in the lineups today?
I think I've seen just that one.
Yeah.
That was David Mundrick, who's now pitching for Aberdeen, making that play.
It's like, you talked about it with me in soccer. It's great to have that natural left-footed kicker to be out there in the left wing for you. Coaches love left-handed pitchers and left-handed batters to have some on their team.
Torrin Griffin, the batter. One of my jobs when I started teaching was a lunchroom monitor. It was a great job. Hated it. No, it was a great job. So one of the things I like to do was go around and watch kids eat their peas.
Right.
If they eat their peas with their left hand, I would say, "You ever pitch in baseball?" Kid would say, "Why do you ask?" Well, you're left-handed, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah, left-handers. You think about Jesse Orozco, who pitched until he was 49. So if you're a left-hander and you're breathing, somebody's going to want you to pitch.
oh, nice
Swung on and
pitch.
missed. And there is the second out. 2 up and 2 down.
Yeah, we are getting a lot more dusk in here now, Don. That's bottom of the inning is going to be a little bit tougher.
And now this is Nolan Ringgold.
Our original starting pitcher.
Yeah, and he's not in my batting order by sequence, but maybe my order has become a little jumbled.
There have been a lot of changes. Boy, our pitcher has a little bit of a Cano finish to his pitch here. Watch how he throws the ball, and he stands there and looks at the batter.
There's a fly ball to right field. Right
This
fielder.
could be tough with this.
No, it's
yeah,
off his glove. And safely going down to second base is Soriano. And again, that may be the function of this getting a bit dark.
Yeah.
So the two-base error puts Soriano on second base.
See, that's going to make the umpires a little more apprehensive here.
Number 15 is on deck, Michael Jones.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah.
Michael Jones will be on deck. Batting here is number 10. This is Julian Ringgold. Julian, the shortstop, who we put a star beside his name on that great play he made earlier in the game.
I'm a big fan of all sports, Don, but a little thing like the way he slung that ball.
Line shot
That
left
could be
field. That's
tough.
going to be a
It's in
base hit.
there. It's a run scored.
Here comes Soriano digging for the plate, and he will get there.
Held for a single on that, Don, because the left fielder got to that ball pretty quick.
But the run will score, and that will make it now 14.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't put it on the board yet, but that is the 14th run.
Oh, threw it away, but he's staying there.
Yep, that short backstop.
Mm-hmm.
14-5 our score.
So who is this toughest for, Don, when it gets to be darker? Equally to everybody, or that long fly ball is the toughest one?
Well, for the batter, first of all,
Okay.
to see the ball. And, you know, they talk about at dusk where it becomes very difficult because the ball is coming out of shadows. You know, that ball, you know, you want to be able to see the spin on the ball. That'll let you know whether it's a curve ball or a straight ball. And if you can't see the spin, then you're sort of operating blind.
Mm-hmm.
So then obviously it becomes more difficult on the fielders when the ball is hit. You want to be able to get that jump to get to the ball.
Runner's breaking.
Strike three is the call, and so that will end the inning. That will leave the score at 14-5. They get one run on one hit. There was one error.
Mm-hmm.
One run left on base, and so we'll go now to the bottom of the seventh inning. Aberdeen needing 9 runs to tie the game.
Yeah, you don't usually see 19 runs in one game here, Don, but it's been a big hitter's game.
Yeah, it was 8-0, as we know, in one point, and Aberdeen, though, came back and made a game of it on their fungo battle for the fungo.
Yes.
Been trying to figure out a way to get this fungo bat onto our camera, but we haven't been able to do it yet. I can only describe it to you as it's got tape around it, it's got nails in it, it's splintered, but it, again, was...
Definitely looks like an antique.
Now, if you know the story about Cal Ripken Sr., was a great fungo hitter. Fungo is where you hit ground balls or fly balls to your fielders. He once hit the roof at the Kingdome in Seattle, which is, who knows how high it was. But
Right.
they bet him they couldn't do it, so he threw it up, boom, hit the roof.
Wow.
Yeah, at the highest part. Cal was an expert. He could say, okay, I'm going to hit a fly ball and it's going to be, 150 feet out. He could. He just had the knack with that. It was like a little magic wand for him.
Well, you bring up an interesting point with that story. The Kingdom, that ball was in fair play when it hit the rafters.
Yeah, it was.
And it could change directions, and what a weird dynamic to put into a major league sport.
And you still have that with once they get it repaired in Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Of course, the roof blew off of it last year, but I think they're going to have it back in operation sometime soon.
I hope so.
Here's Mundrick now, the Aberdeen Eagle now pitcher.
My wife and I went to that stadium a couple years ago.
We went to the game in the Minnesota. What was the Minnesota field called when they played in the Dome?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't think of it.
It was I enjoyed it. It was a very intimate surrounding.
So my wife and I went down there for a trip, and we went to see the Orioles play in Tampa Bay Stadium. And it was the year we won 101 games, Don.
Yeah.
And one guy decided to heckle us because the Orioles lost. And I, you know how you say, look at the scoreboard? I said, look at the standings.
Fielded by Hall and the touch to first base for the out. Yeah. Yeah.
We're in first place by 20 games over you. Why are you talking trash to me? Oh, okay, whatever.
And that shut him up? No.
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 Because he was that guy.
Yeah, he was just that guy.
But you know who I met there? I met
Fazenbacker with the ground
this
ball.
is a tough play, Don.
Soriano fields it, throws it, safe at first base. The ball gets by the first baseman. Fazenbacker turns to go to second, but says, no, I'll just hang on right here.
So I met a gentleman at that game that was Burt Jones from the Colts college roommate.
How about that?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. At LSU.
Yes.
Burt Jones, who was the son of Dub Jones, the great player for the Cleveland Browns.
And he also knew Ben McDonald, who went to LSU.
He did.
And was an All-American pitcher.
And basketball player.
Mm-hmm. So we got one out here in the top of the...
In the bottom.
Oh, the bottom of the seventh.
Yep, yep.
And
the batter is Zakowski, Trevor Zakowski. Shot into center field. Blevins coming, Blevins, and makes the catch.
Wow. Ball hung up there a lot longer than I thought it would.
And Blevins hung right with it, too. Again, they tell you when you're running after a fly ball, run on your toes because the head teams to bob around if you hit them on the heels. Blevins did a great job that time.
You taught me something, Don.
Well, we're down to our final out. Ground ball, backhanded, throw to second. Again, a great play by Ringgold.
Yes.
And that's a great way to end the ball game as Ringgold, who had made a great play early in the ball game, backhands it, throws it to second base for the force out, and that then will be our final score of 14-5. And right now, for the 6th year in a row, the fungo bat will stay with Havre Grace.
Okay.
Aberdeen won it the first time, and there goes the principal, Brad Spence, picks up the fungo bat, and he's walking off with it. Legally, it is still Havre Grace's fungo bat.
Yes.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed this game from Aberdeen High School. Thanks to Tim Lindekamp, the athletic director, and Rob Arnold, the baseball coach, and to our crew. And Ray Roos, thank you so much. As guess what? The rain has now started again. That's great timing. So again, thank you for tuning in. Our final score here from Aberdeen High School in the Fight for the Fungo game, honoring Cal Ripken Sr. Our final score, Havre Grace goes to 6-10. Aberdeen falls to 3-9. Or check at 3-12. The final score, Havre Grace 14 and Aberdeen 5. Good night, everyone.